Hey, what's up guys, it's your boy KCM What Ifs. Today we are gonna be reading The Turn of a Hero, or What If Naruto Left Jiraiya and Betrayed Konoha. So sit back, relax and enjoy. You have some explaining to do. Toby sighed. And what might I have to explain to you? I thought everything was clear. How about the fact that there's another Uchiha alive? Screamed Pain in his Tendo body. He was not happy at the moment. No, he was downright pissed. After what had happened during the ceiling with the One-Tails, you couldn't blame him. Akatsuki was down to 3 members, just for one-tailed beast. Of course, they now had 4 beasts in their possession in total, and since they hadn't lost any members in capturing the others, it could be called even. But that didn't make up for the unknown Uchiha woman. Toby sighed again. I didn't know anything about her. Believe me, if I did, I would have killed her already. Pain calmed himself. There was no need to get worried about that woman, he rationalized. He was a god, after all. So, then what are we gonna do about her? Nothing. She will come to us. Pain became confused. What do you mean? He asked. Toby chuckled. You don't have to worry about the details. All you have to worry about is when she does come, then make sure to kill her. Got it? Pain merely nodded. Good. Now tell the rest of the members to hurry. We have to capture the remaining tailed beasts as soon as possible. He disappeared after that. Pain, said Conan from one of the corners, something is not right about this. I know, he said. Conan walked up to him. I don't trust that man. I always have this feeling that he's hiding something. Pain just stared outside towards the city, where rain began to fall. Well? They're starting to suspect something, answered Toby. They were currently inside the now destroyed Akatsuki hideout, debris of the cave of the roof lying everywhere. Are you sure Pain will be able to handle her? Asked White Zetsu. Yes. Just because Kakuzu wasn't able to handle her, doesn't mean that she's that powerful. All we have to do now is wait for her to come to us, he said as picked up Sasori's ring, putting it on one of his fingers. What makes you so sure that she will come after Akatsuki? She hasn't shown any interest in the organization. Toby chuckled. She has no interest in Akatsuki, that is true. But she does have an interest in me, once Itachi tells her that is. So she'll come after you. Toby nodded. That's right. And then she will be killed. The only downside to this is that now I won't be able to use Sasuke. Oh? Is that really such a problem? Toby shrugged and stood from the rock he was sitting on. I don't know yet. I guess only time will tell. We'll see how things turn out from this point on. And what about the Kyuubi Jinchuriki? Toby sighed. Yes, that's another problem. What's his location? We don't know, said White Zetsu. Last we heard he was in Kumo. Oh? Toby became interested in that. And what was he doing there? Apparently he was discussing something with the Raikage, but we don't know what. It seems he's not telling the details of the meeting to anyone. No matter. Did you manage to plant one of your clones on Itachi? Or any of them? No. We were barely able to hide ourselves to see what had happened. Toby started to walk out of the old hideout. That's a shame. But I guess I should focus on capturing the remaining tailed beasts for now. And the Kyuubi? Naruto will be captured. His visible Sharingan spun. I'll make sure of it. Screamed a random IWA shinobi. Perfect. Muttered the man. As he stepped into the light, his face was revealed, one very ugly snaky face. Yakushi Kabuto grinned at the sight before him. A 4 IWA Chunin team laid in front of him, all knocked out, and barely alive. This is perfect, he thought, now that I have absorbed Orochimaru-sama's power, there's no one that will stop me. Not even Sasuke-kun. He took a scroll out and sealed the bodies away. They will be of use later, but right now I have to collect more bodies, and IWA is being really helpful with that. That old fool really is too arrogant. He's already lost both of his Jinchurikis. I guess he now wants to lose his own shinobi. Kabuto laughed as he walked away. Give me a good reason why I shouldn't leave this god-forsaken place, screamed Tsunade in rage. Jiraiya mentally patted himself in the back for putting silencing seals before the conversation began. Danzo. That's what, he said in a calm tone. You and I both know that he would use this opportunity to become Hokage and do God knows what. After finding out what Tsunade had discovered, he came back as soon as he could, well after consulting with the remainder of his spy network. And why should I care? This place basically betrayed my entire family, she screamed again. She wanted nothing more than to just leave the village and never come back, to never see it again. Jiraiya sighed. Tsunade, you have to calm down and think things through before you do them. If you leave, it will have major consequences, and you know it, his voice rising a bit. Tsunade t-sked as she sat back down in her chair. She knew he was right, but she was too pissed at the moment to care. And we both know that you shouldn't blame the whole village for what happened, continued Jiraiya. It's the elders and sensei who are at fault here. Tsunade took a deep breath in, trying to calm herself. After a few seconds, she spoke. I suppose you're right. She then held the journal up. But I found a lot of new information. There are some more interesting things here. Jiraiya raised an eyebrow. Really? Like what? Tsunade opened the book. Well, for starters, it seemed like Sarutobi-sensei was starting to get suspicious of my grandmother. Jiraiya raised another eyebrow. Uzumaki Mito? Why would he be suspicious of her? Tsunade flipped through some pages and answered him. It seemed that she was taking a lot of trips out of the village after Yuzu fell, as well as investigating a lot of the village's underground networks. She also became more cold to everyone. That's indeed strange, said Jiraiya as he sat on one of the chairs in front of the desk. The attitude changed, I could understand, but why was she taking trips? Or investigating the underground networks for? Tsunade sighed and put the book down. I don't know. I didn't really pay that much attention to her, since I was dealing with my own problems. But there's more. More? Tsunade nodded. Yes, but this deals with Kushina. It seems that they were trying to rebuild the Uzumaki clan through her. Jiraiya narrowed his eyes. He cared for Kushina deeply, and came to respect his apprentice for choosing a good woman to spend the rest of his life with. And? Why didn't they? You know how Sensei was already looking for a successor, right? At Jiraiya's nod, she continued. Well, you also know how Minato was already being taken into consideration. Again Jiraiya nodded. His apprentice had been a rare genius. Coming beyond genin level by the time he graduated the academy, he had been admired by many of his fellow genin. The war just proved that he was indeed worthy. When Sensei found out that Kushina had fallen in love with Minato, he deduced that any children they had would become powerful and would protect the village, as well as produce more children and continue the Uzumaki line, Minato's genes improving it. He decided that this would work out better, since he knew that when female Jinchurikis give birth there's a chance that the tailed beast could escape, just like with my grandmother. Jiraiya understood. Of course. That way there was less of a chance that the Kyuubi would break free and the village got a powerful clan as well. Tsunade nodded. Exactly. Kushina's strong attitude to not being with anyone else besides Minato helped as well. And since it presented a better solution, Sensei didn't try to change her mind. Or force her. The last part was said darkly. Tsunade hated the Sandaime at the moment, more than anything else, as well as the elders. Jiraiya sighed. This is really a complicated mess. Tsunade spoke again. Jiraiya, if Naruto ever found out about this. Jiraiya nodded. I know, I've been thinking about that fact as well. We also can't ignore the fact that he might have left because he somehow found out about this. Tsunade stood up. But how? Jiraiya shook his head. I don't know. Of course, I might be wrong and he might have left for another different reason. Tsunade sat down again. There's also another troubling matter. There's more, said Jiraiya with a tired voice. Tsunade nodded. Unfortunately, yes. But this time, it deals with the Uchiha clan. The Uchihas, repeated Jiraiya. That's right. Apparently the massacre was just a cover-up for something bigger. A lot bigger. What is it? Tsunade brought her hands together in front of her face. The Uchiha clan were planning a coup. Jiraiya's eyes widened. But that's impossible. They might have been arrogant but they would never do something like that. At Tsunade's serious look, he faltered. Could they? Tsunade sighed, and nodded. Yes. They couldn't stand the fact that they were losing power. They were desperate and they thought that a coup was the only way. Jiraiya rubbed his forehead. And how did Sensei find out about this? Sensei and the elders had planted a spy within the clan. I presume you have already guessed who it was? Itachi. Said Jiraiya in a whisper. That's correct. Itachi told them exactly what the Uchihas were planning. Danzo of course wanted them to be eliminated, but Sensei wanted to reason with them. In the end, though, it seemed that there was no choice but to wipe them out. But what about Sasuke? Asked Jiraiya. Why did Itachi spare him? I don't know. Itachi did ask Sensei to watch after him, and to never tell Sasuke the truth. Jiraiya shut his eyes. This is great. He's already after Itachi, and if he finds out that Itachi was ordered by Konoha, he'll come back here and try to destroy this place. Tsunade HMPH. Not like this place doesn't deserve it, she said darkly. Jiraiya just sighed and stood up from the chair he was sitting on. I understand you're pissed, but remember that the people here are innocent. Tsunade snorted. Innocent? Please, the villagers are arrogant and full of themselves. Especially the civilian council, and you know it. Jiraiya sighed again. True. But you also know that there are some good people here. Just please, don't quit being Hokage. We can't allow Danzo to step up, and you know it, he said right back at her. Tsunade T-sked. Fine. But if that bastard tries anything I'll kill him. Even if I don't have any evidence. Jiraiya smirked. But then remembered the information he had received. There's also another problem that has arisen. Tsunade sighed. What is it now? She asked. It seems that there's someone killing random IWA shinobi, he answered her. Tsunade looked at him with a confused look. What? Why would anyone do that? Jiraiya shrugged. I don't know. And there's no pattern either. He or she takes out any shinobi he or she comes in contact with, be it Genin, Chunin, or Jonin. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, admitted Tsunade. Probably bad, said Jiraiya. Tsunade looked at him confused again. And why would you say that? I don't know, he answered truthfully, I just have this feeling that things are gonna get a lot worse, and soon. Then there was a knock on the door. Enter, said Tsunade, as Jiraiya took the silencing seal off. Shizun walked in. Tsunade-sama, we have just received the report regarding the mission to rescue the Kazekage. Naruto, what are you up to? Wondered Gaara as he sat alone in his office. The team that had rescued him had left earlier that day. They were in a hurry since they had to report to the Hokage, as well as bury one Sarutobi Asuma. Unfortunately, they hadn't made it in time to find a cure to the poison. There was also the funeral of Lady Chiyo, who had given her life to return his. And now he was pondering the latest information he had learned that one Uzumaki Naruto had left Konoha for reasons unknown. Gaara, said Temari as she and Kankuro entered his office. Gaara turned to them. What did you find? He asked them. Temari sighed. According to our spy network, the last place Naruto was seen was in Kumo, but that was about a week ago. Gaara contemplated this new info. That's strange. Why would he be there? Kankuro sighed. We couldn't get anything else. Kumo has the best protection against spies in the whole elemental nations, well besides AIM. Gaara hemmed in agreement. We'll just have to wait till he shows up again then. Temari and Kankuro nodded. About time you showed up, said Obito as he landed in front of the group. He turned to look at the group, spotting Itachi. Well, I guess you succeeded. Mikoto just nodded. Itachi looked at Obito, not recognizing him. Seems like you're missing someone, said Obito, noticing the absence of Jugo. He's dead, said Mikoto as she walked inside the hideout, Sasuke and Itachi following her. Suigetsu grumbled, remembering his defeat. Karen was still sore from carrying Suigetsu for about a day. Obito just looked at them amused, before following the other three. Suigetsu and Karen just went to the rooms that they were residing in before they'd left. Where's Naruto? Asked Mikoto. Training, answered Obito. Well, tell him we have things to discuss, said Mikoto. Obito raised an eyebrow, but nodded. Yujito sighed as she put the scroll down. Well, guess I have to stick around some more. What did that over-muscled brute say? Yujito sighed as she heard what Nibi called the rakeage. Weren't you paying attention when I read it? No. Me asking you should have told you I wasn't. Yujito decided to just answer the tailed beast. He wants me to keep following him, to see whether he would become a threat to Kumo. Nibi snorted. Of course he's a threat. But he doesn't care about Kumo. I thought you would know this by now. Yujito mentally sighed. Of course I do. But orders are orders. Nibi laughed. Just admitted that you're attracted to him and want to ride him till. Shut up, screamed Yujito with a blush. Nibi sighed. It will be a lot easier if you just admitted it. Yujito shook her head, her blush still present. There's nothing to admit. Nibi smirked, not that Yujito could see it. We'll see about that. What do you want? Asked Naruto as he sat down. The four Uchihas and the Uzumaki were currently sitting around a table inside one of the many rooms of the hideout. Itachi raised an eyebrow at Naruto's new appearance and change in attitude. Having discarded his old wardrobe thanks to Mikoto giving him new clothes. Itachi's attire now consisted of what resembled an Umbu's uniform, except with no headband. Naruto raised his own eyebrow as he noticed Itachi. What is he doing here? He asked Mikoto. He's here to join us, answered Mikoto like nothing was wrong, as well as ask you some questions. Oh, it's Tachi-chan, spoke Kushina from inside Naruto's mind, surprised. Another Uchiha, muttered Kurama. Now as to why we are gathered, continued Mikoto, is because we have to decide what our next move is. I thought we were waiting till he was finished, said Obito, pointing at Naruto. Kurama, said Naruto. We have no choice. You'll have to learn how to control my power during battle, I suppose, Kurama said, answering his unasked question. I'm good to go, said Naruto. Mikoto nodded. Perfect. Then, she looked directly at Naruto. Just how do you exactly plan on destroying the village? My first targets are the village leaders, of course, said Naruto, after that the village itself. That's pretty ambitious, commented Itachi, still not entirely sure if he made the right choice. And why is that? Asked Naruto. Because you're going after the big ones, answered Obito for Itachi, who are pretty hard to get to. Especially Danzo. Naruto nodded in agreement. I know that. Which is why I'm going to return to that place, and then make my move. The Uchihas all raised their eyebrows. What do you mean by that? Asked Sasuke, speaking for the first time. Naruto smirked. As far as they're concerned, I just left. They don't know why I did, just that I did. Mikoto smirked as well, catching on. I see. So you plan to just give them a reason why you left, and then move from there? Naruto nodded. And what reason will you give them? Asked Itachi. Naruto shrugged. Simple. Training, which isn't a total lie. At their confused looks, he explained. At the beginning, the reason I left was because I wasn't getting the training I expected from Jiraiya, so I left. I wanted to see what the shinobi world was like, as well as see just how strong I could get. It wasn't till later that things changed. I see, said Itachi. What about us? Asked Sasuke. What are we supposed to do? Itachi took a glance at his younger brother. I don't have much time. I suppose now is the best chance ever. He turned towards his mother. There's something I need to talk to you about. Mikoto raised an eyebrow. And what's that? The true leader of Akatsuki. Naruto narrowed his eyes. Akatsuki, huh? I forgot about them. Mikoto raised her hand. I already know about that. Itachi's eyes widened. How did you know about him? Mikoto chuckled. There you go again, underestimating your own mother. Who are you talking about? Asked Sasuke. Uchiha Madara, answered Obito with obvious sarcasm. Itachi raised an eyebrow, taking note of it. Uchiha Madara, repeated Sasuke, confused. Him, screamed Kurama. Is he really alive? Wondered Kushina. Naruto just listened to the conversation. Mikoto sighed. Itachi, you have been deceived. Itachi stared at her, silently asking her what she meant. The Madara you are speaking of is a fake, not the real one. The real Uchiha Madara is already dead. She took a discreet glance towards Obito. Itachi leaned back in his chair, shocked. Then who is this Madara? Asked Naruto. Mikoto tilted her head. That's not important, she answered. Obito shook his hands in anger. Not that anyone noticed besides Mikoto. Naruto narrowed his eyes slightly. Something is not right here. You're right, agreed Kurama. Kushina stayed silent. Anyway, began Mikoto, trying to change the subject, you do have a point, she said to Itachi, while I hadn't really cared about Akatsuki in the past, sooner or later they will interfere with us. You're talking about me, aren't you? Said Naruto. Mikoto nodded. That's right. You're still one of their targets, and will come after you soon. Don't worry, said Itachi, coming out of his shock. You were supposed to be captured last. But with me gone, I don't know who they will send after you. It's still a problem, said Obito, we have to somehow take them out, and destroy whatever this Madara's plan is. Mikoto looked at him. And how do you suppose we do that? Simple. We gathered the remaining Jinchuriki, he answered. Mikoto looked at him crazily. Do you realize how stupid that sounds? She said. Obito shrugged. Not really. The Nibi Jinchuriki is already here with us. And thanks to that agreement Naruto made with Kyumo, getting the Hachibi Jinchuriki to join us won't be that hard. That does make two, agreed Naruto, but what about the rest? Thanks to Akatsuki, I know their location, said Itachi. Mikoto stood up. Do you realize what you're talking about? She asked. This is about the Jinchurikis, a village's weapon, not something they'll give up willingly. Who said anything willingly? Said Obito with a smirk. Mikoto shook her head as she sat back down. You're crazy. Obito shrugged again. Probably. Mikoto held her head in her hands. We're not going to. He's right, said Itachi. What? Asked Mikoto as she looked at her oldest son. They would prove to be powerful allies, something we need, he answered. I agree, said Sasuke. I heard that a Jinchuriki's power is supposed to be fierce, he added as he looked at Naruto, who smirked. Which tailed beasts have already been captured? Asked Obito to Itachi. Yanbi, Gobi, Rokubi, and just recently the Ichibi, he answered. For already, muttered Kurama. Kushina glanced at him inside Naruto's mind, taking in his troubled look. Are you alright? Asked Naruto. Yes. Naruto didn't believe him, but decided not to push. He also took notice of another fact. The Ichibi. He thought. It could only mean that Gaara was captured. I also think they could prove to be useful, said Naruto. Mikoto turned towards him. I thought you wanted to destroy Konoha. Naruto snorted. Of course I do. But it's gonna require some more allies, and some thinking. I might not know this Danzo personally, but from everything I heard, he's as slippery as Orochimaru. Well, I guess it's decided, said Obito. Mikoto sighed. This is gonna be the most stupid thing I have ever done. Then you haven't lived life, said Obito with a smirk. So who's doing what? Asked Itachi. We'll have to split up, answered Mikoto. And do things quietly, added Naruto. I don't want Konoha to find out about this. There's something I have to do first, said Itachi as he looked at Sasuke. Mikoto sighed sadly, knowing what was going to happen. Sasuke looked at his older brother, confused. Are you sure? She asked Itachi. Itachi merely nodded. Naruto-kun, said Kushina suddenly. What is it? He asked her. I need to speak with Miko-chan, she answered. Mikoto, said Naruto. When he had her attention he continued, there's something I need to speak to you about. Mikoto nodded. Well, after we're ready, we'll set out. The others nodded. Itachi motioned for Sasuke to follow him, which he did. Obito headed out, to someplace. Mikoto walked up to Naruto. What do you want to talk about? I need you to enter my mind. I know that thanks to your Sharingan you can do it. Mikoto raised an eyebrow, but complied. A few seconds later, she found herself within a sewer. A sewer, huh? Muttered Mikoto. Good to see you again, Miko-chan, said a voice from behind her, making her freeze. When she turned, her suspicion was confirmed. Kushina, she said, shocked. The only one, said Kushina cheerfully. Next thing she knew, she was being hugged, their boobs squishing with each other. This is kind of erotic, said a voice from within Naruto's head, making him shake his head. How? Asked Mikoto. Thank Naruto-kun, was the response she got. Mikoto looked at Naruto, who merely shrugged. There's some things I have to talk to you about, said Kushina. Mikoto nodded. Well, follow me. She followed Kushina out of the room. That was weird, muttered Naruto. This is actually the perfect chance to tell you something as well. Naruto turned towards Kurama. Well, what is it? Asked Mikoto. Kushina turned to look at her best friend. I need you to be honest, she said with a serious voice, just what are your plans? Mikoto gave her a questioning look. I don't understand. Don't play with me, she continued, I might not know what you're up to, but if it harms my son, best friend or not, I will somehow find a way, and kill you. Mikoto stared at her for a few seconds emotionless, before laughing. You haven't changed. But don't worry, I don't intend to harm Naruto. Kushina studied her, before slowly nodding. Alright. But you still haven't told me what your plans are. Mikoto sighed. There are a lot of things that you don't know about Kushina. Like my clan being betrayed, she said sarcastically. I'm not surprised Naruto told you, but there's a lot more. Heh, I bet there are some things that I don't know. Yeah, thought Kushina, thinking of Mito, I bet there are. Can't you trust me? Mikoto sighed. It's really simple revenge. Kushina just stared at her. Not just about the massacre, but for the suffering of my sons as well. The way my clan was put down, being used like tools. But why everyone? Asked Kushina. Mikoto chuckled. I could care less about the villagers. But your son is a different matter, am I right? It was Kushina's turn to sigh. I guess that after finding out about the betrayal, all the suppressed hatred he had for the village came out, not that I could blame him. Mikoto nodded. Don't worry. Soon everything will be taken care of. Kushina shook her head. I never thought that things would turn out like this. I know, said Mikoto in agreement, I never thought that I would try a coup, or that I would be here where I am today. Kushina nodded. Things really do change fast, she said in a low voice, but Mikoto heard her, and agreed with her. How things change. They both thought together. Well, that really is interesting. Muttered Naruto. So you're gonna do it? Naruto nodded. Of course. With this, I'll be able to find out everything. So you really don't know, do you? Of course not. We weren't exactly friends. Naruto chuckled. That will be the first thing I'll have to do, then. You're really going back to the village? Naruto sighed. Yes, it's necessary. Are you sure you'll be able to control yourself? It will be difficult, admitted Naruto, but I'll have to do it. But there's something else that I want to ask you. You're talking about giving your mother a real body, guessed Kurama. Naruto nodded. That's right. Kurama sighed. It will be difficult, and will require a huge mastery of Fuinjutsu, mastery that you don't yet have. But your mother does. I'm sure she will help you. I was also thinking about looking through the library of Orochimaru, added Naruto. I'm sure he's got a forbidden jutsu that will help us. Kurama nodded in agreement. You're right about that. And don't forget that a body will also be needed. Naruto then noticed Kushina returning along with Mikoto. Done? He asked them. They both nodded. If you excuse me, said Mikoto, there's some place I have to be. She disappeared. Sasuke merely stared at his brother, shocked. Itachi chuckled at his look. What's wrong, little brother? Wasn't this your goal? Well, that was before. Muttered Sasuke. Itachi sighed. Sasuke, I don't have much time. This way my death will mean something. Are you sure? Asked Sasuke one more time. Itachi merely nodded. Yes, I am. I've already made too many mistakes in my life. I know that you're set on the path that you are, and there's nothing that will change your mind, he said, remembering Naruto, and I won't try to stop you anymore. And even if what our mother said is true, there's still a part of me that can't see the village destroyed. So this way, things work out for both of us. Why? Asked Sasuke. Why do you still care about that place? Even after everything that has happened, why do you still care about it? Itachi sighed. I don't know, he admitted, I really don't know. I guess I just don't want to see any more suffering. And that's exactly what's going to happen if I stay here. I guess there really is no changing your mind, said Mikoto as she joined them. You knew? Sasuke asked his mother. Mikoto nodded. Yes, but you want to talk to Naruto first, don't you? Yes, answered Itachi. I need to learn the truth first. Follow me. Sasuke could only stare at his older brother's retreating form. He's you, in every way, except that he doesn't care what he does to accomplish his goal. Obito remembered very well what he told him, exactly what had happened that day. But hey, I'm alive, he thought. With that thought in mind, he just laid back down on the tree, trying to forget the past. It went better than I expected. Muttered Tsunade, putting the mission report down. Really? Said Jiraiya. How were you expecting things to go? Tsunade shrugged. To be honest, I don't know, but the fact that we only lost one shinobi when Akatsuki is the enemy is a good outcome. Really? Said Jiraiya again. Even when said shinobi is Sarutobi Asuma? Tsunade sighed. I know what you're probably thinking, but you're wrong, she said. Please enlighten me, he said almost sarcastically. I don't hate Asuma or anyone related to Sensei just for what he did. That's stupid and meaningless. I was just merely stating a fact, she said. Jiraiya sighed in relief. Well, that's good to hear. But I don't think that the rest are gonna feel the same, especially his old team. The person that killed him is already dead, stated Tsunade. There's no one for them to try to take revenge on. Jiraiya chuckled. Yeah, you're right. The last thing we need is any more Sasukes. Tsunade HMPH. That would be the last thing that we need, especially with everything else that is going on at the moment. She massaged her forehead. I really need a break from all of this. Jiraiya smirked as he made his way to one of the windows. Just don't quit on me. Things would really become hectic if you did. Where are you going? She asked, as Jiraiya opened the window. I still need to find Naruto, he answered with determination. I'm not going to rest till I'm sure that Minato's son is back here safe and sound. Tsunade sighed. I wish you luck. He jumped out. Tsunade turned to her office table and picked her sensei's journal. I feel like I'm missing something here, she thought with irritation. My grandmother, Mito, just what did she know? Was she planning on taking revenge? No, that would be stupid and she would know that. She wasn't an idiot. And those trips, was she meeting someone? An accomplice maybe? That sounds reasonable, but nothing happened. And her sudden interest in the underground system of the village. Maybe there's a clue there. But there are millions of tunnels. But it's not like I have any other leads. She put the journal down and stood up to one of the windows, gazing at the village. Grandmother, I have a feeling that you were planning something, but the question is what? What Tsunade didn't know was that she was asking the wrong question. So Sasori didn't make it, stated Pain. That's down another member, said Kakuzu, and with Kisame and Itachi gone, that only leaves me and Haiden to hunt the remaining tailed beasts. Don't forget about me, shouted Deidara in anger. And me, said a figure beside him enthusiastically. We're supposed to hunt the remaining beasts with these two? Asked Kakuzu, annoyed. What's that supposed to mean, said Deidara. Kakuzu didn't bother to answer him, making Deidara angrier. Now Deidara-senpai, don't go blowing up on us. Toby, shut up, screamed Deidara, turning towards his new partner. Pain sighed. Not that anyone noticed besides Konan. See what I mean, said Kakuzu. I'm still here, said White Zetsu. His other half didn't bother to point out that he was also there, not caring. Enough of this, shouted Pain, losing his patience. The other members quieted, lest they angered him any further. Now we're here to decide what our next course of action is going to be, as well as who goes after who. I thought it was clear already, said Kakuzu. Not anymore, was the response he got. Pain turned to Zetsu. Are there any leads to the whereabouts of the Kyubi? No, answered White Zetsu. After Kyumo, the trail ends cold. The Nibi seems to have gone with him as well, added Black Zetsu. Oh, that's fucking great, said Haiden. Don't tell me I'm going to have to go and find that bitch myself. That's my job, said White Zetsu. The Hachibi is too well protected, so it would be better to wait for his capture, said Pain, and we have yet to find the Sanbai, which means that the Nanabai shall be next. He focused on Kakuzu and Haiden. You two are to capture it immediately. Failure is not an option. Kakuzu just settled for a nod, while Haiden grunted at being ordered. What about us, Leader Sama? Asked Toby with his childish glee. Pain turned towards him and Deidara. While Zetsu is busy trying to locate the Nibi and Kyubi, you two are to locate and if possible, capture the Sanbai. Understood? Deidara nodded, and Toby jumped. Leave it to us, Leader Sama. We will not let you down. Deidara disappeared, making Toby follow him. The others left as well, until it was just Pain and Conan. He sure knows how to act, commented Conan. Pain nodded. That's true. Conan looked at him. What are you thinking? That I'm probably going to have to capture the Kyubi myself, he answered. Are you sure? She asked. I don't know, it's just a feeling. He disappeared along with Conan, making it look as if no one was ever present. Are you sure about this? Asked Kushina to his son. Naruto sighed. Yes, I am. It's something that cannot be avoided. Kushina nodded. All right. I'll trust you on this, but you're gonna have to be extra careful. A lot of people are gonna have a careful eye on you. I know that, said Naruto, a little annoyed. I'm not an idiot. While they don't have any reason to be suspicious of me, well, besides me leaving like that, it's not gonna stay like that forever. Especially with Danzo. I also learned of your agreement with Kyumo, said Kushina. What of it? Asked Naruto. Any particular reason why you chose that place? Kushina still remembered the attempt that was made to capture her. She was glad that it failed, for if it had succeeded, she shuddered, imagining what would have become of her. She would have been used to rebuild the Uzumaki clan, and who knows what else, not to mention that they had a part in the force that wiped out Yuzu. Naruto raised an eyebrow when he noticed her look of disgust when she thought of Kyumo, but placed it in the back of his mind for now. No reason. It just happened. Not that it wasn't convenient, because I now have a shinobi village on my side, but I don't know how long that's going to last. You don't trust them? Asked Kushina, perplexed. Naruto chuckled. Of course not. I'm pretty sure the Raikage has his own motive for agreeing, not that I care. And anyway, Kyumo was the best logical choice. IWA would be after my head the moment I step foot in that village because of my resemblance to the Yondaime. Kushina didn't bother correcting him on how he should call Minato father, but she noticed that there was no malice when he said Yondaime. She would have thought that at least some hatred would be visible. Kiri is a mess right now, continued Naruto, thanks to the civil war that they just came out of. They would have been of no help. And Sauna is an ally to Konoha, and would have likely tried to capture me, even after their allegiance with Odo earlier. So really, Kyumo is the best choice. Circumstances just made it easier. Kushina slowly nodded. I understand your point. But let me ask you something. She took a pause. Who do you really trust? Interesting question, muttered Naruto. Truly? He asked her. At her nod, he continued. I don't know, he answered truthfully. At her shocked look, he just shrugged. Don't be so surprised. I've been lied to my entire life. Even with Kurama. I don't know if he still has some other motive for continuing to help me. Mikoto as well, because I'm pretty sure that she has her secrets, and so do the rest. And as for you, he looked straight at her, you might be my mother, but that doesn't mean that I trust you completely. I just met you after all. You might be hiding something. But I'm not, denied Kushina. Naruto shrugged again. Only time will tell. Kushina clenched her hands. Looks like I'm going to have to earn his trust after all, she thought, but why would I think otherwise? Considering how everyone has deceived him in some way, I'm not surprised that now he would have a hard time trusting anyone. I'll be going then. She disappeared. Naruto sighed. Well, she had to know the truth. His attention turned to his surroundings, noticing how his mind became all dark and black. I'm hurt, you know. Naruto HMPH as he recognized the voice. It was his after all. And why is that? You're me after all. Dark Naruto smirked as he appeared before his other self. Exactly. I'm you. And yet you don't trust me. Just because we're one, doesn't mean anything. Dark Naruto's smirk disappeared. You're right. It looks like you have really gotten smarter. But I also know that you don't want to fight me. At least, not yet. Oh my, looks like I've been found out. Dark Naruto chuckled. That's correct. I don't care whether you trust me or not, or whether you like me or not. It is irrelevant to me. Just what do you want? Dark Naruto shrugged. Who knows? Naruto tilted his head at his other self. Then you yourself don't know what you want? That's sad really. Dark Naruto narrowed his eyes. You better watch yourself. After all, your goal itself is pathetic. Taking revenge for people you never knew. I know that that village is pathetic, and that they deserve it, but you want to destroy it for a stupid reason. Naruto smirked. I know it is. Then why? I'm not one who doesn't like destruction for no reason, but I know that you don't think the same way. It's simple really. I'm doing this because I want to. Dark Naruto just stared at his other self, making Naruto chuckled. My actions are my own. I'm not gonna lie, the fact that my clan was wiped out because of them played a part in my decision, but it's not the entire picture. His hands turned into fists. They think of themselves as gods, as if they were the best thing that has ever happened, which is hardly the truth. They are merely fools who don't understand a single thing. You're talking about our childhood. You should know how it felt. The beatings, the discrimination, the lies, the loneliness. Naruto shook his head. Of course, no matter what I do, the past will stay like it is. But not the future. Knowing what I now know, there is no way that I could think of that place as my home, least of all try to protect it. And? What will you do once you have accomplished your goal? Honestly? I don't know yet. But when the time comes, I'll figure it out. There is no use thinking about it right now. There are other things to consider as well. You're talking about the ones who were part of the actual attack. Dark Naruto smirked. Exactly. You really do love causing destruction, don't you? Trying to trick me into destroying the other villages. And here I thought you would just try to take over. It's more beneficial this way, as well as more interesting and entertaining. I don't care about them at the moment. But you never know. Dark Naruto laughed. This is fun. You are certainly me alright. And a word of advice, I would watch out for the Uchihas. Naruto raised an eyebrow. I thought you liked Mikoto. Like? Hell no. I just said that she was sexy, and that I wouldn't mind fucking her. Don't twist my words around. Whatever. And I already know that. I'm not so foolish. Dark Naruto smirked again. I'll be watching. He disappeared, the darkness along with him. Naruto then felt a pull, and he disappeared as well. He woke to the real world to see Mikoto and Itachi in front of him. Anything I can help you with? He asked them. Itachi nodded. I have some questions for you, he answered. About? Is it true that your clan was abandoned by Konoha? Naruto nodded, not understanding why Itachi was interested. That's right. Itachi looked down. So it was true. But somewhere deep in his heart, he still cared about the village. Why does it matter to you? He asked him. Itachi looked back up. I don't know if you know, but your mother, Uzumaki Kushina, was very important to me, like an older sister. Naruto's eyes widened a bit at that. I wanted to confirm if what my mother said was true, that's the only reason I'm here. And? Now that you know, what do you plan on doing? Asked Naruto. I know that your intentions toward Konoha are hostile, and I don't think that I could stop you even if I wanted to, so I'm going to help you. Really? Why would you want to stop me? I thought you defected. Naruto trailed off. Itachi shook his head. There are some things you yourself don't know, but that's for another time. He destroyed the Uchiha clan. Under Konoha's instruction. Naruto remembered what Mikoto had told Sasuke when they had first met. So Itachi was ordered to destroy the Uchihas. But something tells me that it's deeper than that. Well, I guess you're with us now, said Naruto. No, said Itachi, I said I would help you, but not the way you're thinking. Then in what way? Asked Naruto. Itachi began to walk away. You'll see soon enough. Once he was out of sight, Naruto turned to Mikoto. What was he talking about? Mikoto sighed. Like he said, you'll see soon, she answered him. Alright, but we'll have to move soon. Mikoto nodded. I know that. But it would be better if you were to return to Konoha now. Don't underestimate Jiraiya's spy network. Yeah, you're right about that, agreed Naruto. Not to mention that I have to find whatever it is Mito left for me, or should I say Kushina's child. We'll find the Jinchuriki then, said Mikoto. About time, said Obito as he came in. I still don't agree with this, said Mikoto. Obito smirked. Don't worry, you will. He then became serious. There's something I forgot to mention earlier. And that is, said Naruto. The Nibi Jinchuriki seems to have sent a message to the Raikage, and she got a reply. Mikoto smirked. Interesting. What did she tell him? And what makes you think that I know anything else, said Obito innocently. Mikoto in turn gave him the look, making Obito put his hands up, surrendering. Alright. I don't know when, but she found out that Naruto is the son of the Yondaime, as well as what he plans to do, or should I say, we. And what did the Raikage say? Asked Naruto. He told her to stay put, and follow you to make sure you don't become a threat to Kyumo. That girl is going way over her head, said Mikoto. Just what is it with you two? Asked Naruto, not getting what the problem between the two was. I don't know what you're talking about. It was Mikoto's turn to play innocent, and it looked better on her than it did with Obito. Naruto shook his head, although he did have to admit that she did look good. Never mind. Mikoto in turn smirked. She could almost read his thoughts. Now, it wouldn't be good if you suddenly get a crush on me, Naruto-kun. Obito raised an eyebrow. Okay, this is gonna be so much fun, he thought. When he was younger, Naruto would have blushed, but not anymore. Then there will be no problem. Mikoto still kept her smirk. Good then. What will we do with her? Asked Naruto, changing the subject. She will come with us, answered Mikoto. Your part is to get all the information you can on Danzo, and the other elders, but more specifically Danzo. He'll be the difficult one here. We'll handle getting more allies. And there's one more thing to consider, said Obito. No doubt Jiraiya will find out about your meeting with the Raikage if he hasn't already. You might have to explain that. Naruto nodded. I've taken that into account, but I doubt that he knows. From what I heard, Kyumo has an effective system for making sure spies don't get in. You're right, said Mikoto, but it's best to be prepared for anything. Well, I'll go get ready. Once he had left, Obito spoke. And what of Itachi? Mikoto sighed. His mind is already made up. We'll have to get ready for the implantation as well. She started to walk away, but stopped as Obito spoke again. You know, you never did tell me how you managed to acquire all those Sharingan eyes after you escaped that night. I mean, even after I helped you and everything. Mikoto smirked, not that Obito could see since she was facing away. That, my dear relative, is a secret. How far is that fucking place anyways? Asked Haiden. Kakuzu sighed in irritation. We just left, you know. TCH. Well, it feels like it's been forever already. You're more irritating than usual, stated Kakuzu in a factual tone. Fuck you, screamed Haydn in response. Are you pissed that your target is missing? Haydn snorted. Hell yeah. It just means more work and time which I could use for the sacrifices that are needed for Jashin-sama. It was Kakuzu's turn to snort. You couldn't even take that Uchiha brat. Worst of all, you were taken down easily, with just 2 moves. Haydn shook in anger. Shut the fuck up. You couldn't handle that woman either. Kakuzu humphed. Please, the woman is actually stronger than the brat, for your information. I doubt that you could ever take her. And I was also limited, if you have forgotten. So was I, said Haydn, angry. The only difference was that I actually used up my chakra, and actually fought her, retorted Kakuzu. Yeah, well, began Haydn, not knowing what else to say. Shut up. Heh, was all Kakuzu said as he ended the conversation. Haydn was pissed now. That brat, he thought angrily about Sasuke, next time I see him I'm going to make sure he becomes a sacrifice. After all, that's the best he'll ever be. A sacrifice. Kakuzu didn't pay attention to the look his partner had on his face while he was thinking about what he was going to do to the Uchiha. He didn't care after all. The only reason he put up with Haydn was because he couldn't kill him, something he was going to fix soon. The other reason was because the leader threatened to kill him if he killed Haydn. After going through a large number of partners, since he couldn't remember how many he had gone through since he had lost count, the leader had lost his patience. And if an immortal like Haydn couldn't last, then who would? But Kakuzu didn't know how much more he could take before he snapped. Why did I join Akatsuki again, he wondered to himself. Oh yeah, if I didn't, I would have been killed. How he remembered that day. He was going to one of the cash houses to cash in on his latest bounty, when Zetsu came out of nowhere, telling him all about Akatsuki, and how if he refused, he would be killed. Not much of a choice, really. He had known about Zetsu, one of the best, if not the best, spy in the elemental nations. If he followed someone, then he or she was strong, and that was proven to be correct. And the day that he thought that would be no different than the last, turned out to be one that started his new life. He didn't mind Akatsuki really. He earned money, and got protection. All he had to do was capture Jinchuriki, not a bad trade-off in his opinion. Well, besides Haydn, he thought. Whatever, once Akatsuki accomplishes its goal, I'm gonna kill him. With that, he continued towards Taki, a place he once called home. This is a pain in the ass, thought Tsunade as she gazed at the map on her desk. Said map was the entire underground network of the village put on paper. The network was huge, bigger than the village itself, since there were tunnels underneath tunnels. There were a total of 5 levels. The deeper you went, the more likely you could get lost. The map only showed the known tunnels, but there were more out there. Some incomplete, and some just forgotten. Tsunade bit one of her nails. Some tunnels have been recently built, some destroyed, so there's no doubt that my grandmother would have been looking at a different map. I wonder if there are any left from that period. She then shook her head. But what exactly am I looking for, she thought in irritation. There was a knock on her door. Enter, and the rescue team came in, with Shizune in the front. Tsunade-sama, the team is here. Tsunade's eyebrows went up in surprise as she saw the team enter. That was fast, she thought. She then took the time to study their appearance. They were all battered and tired, and some looked like they had been crying recently, namely most of the rookies. She mentally sighed. They were gonna have to get over it, she thought. This was the shinobi world, and this was how it worked. I have already read over the report, she said, so there's no need for a debriefing. You will all get a week off to rest. Asuma's funeral shall be held tomorrow afternoon. You're all dismissed. They all walked out, one by one, all but not Sakura. Anything I could do for you, said Tsunade. I was just wondering if there was any news on Sasuke-kun, or Naruto, she answered quietly. This time, Tsunade did sigh. Sakura, go home and rest. You just returned from a heavy battle, and you're lucky to be alive. But, began Sakura. Go home and rest, interrupted Tsunade. Sakura could tell that she wasn't going to get anything, so she decided that leaving was the best option. Once she was gone, Tsunade could only shake her head. Just what does she want, thought Tsunade to herself, but then she remembered what she was supposed to be doing. Shizune, she said to her assistant who was standing beside her. Yes, said Shizune. See if you can find a map of this village's underground network from about, say 30 years ago. It is time. Sasuke merely activated his Sharingan, focusing them on Itachi. They were currently a few miles away from the hideout that they were residing in. Itachi's Mangekyo appeared. He smiled. Make this fun for me, little brother. They went straight at each other, Sasuke bringing his sword forward. Itachi blocked the strike with a kunai. Sasuke narrowed his eyes, jumping forward, going for a kick. Itachi caught his younger brother's foot with his unused hand. Both of them jumped back, doing the same exact seals. Fire style, Gokakyu. The two giant fireballs smashed against each other, trying to overcome each other. After a few seconds, Itachi could see that Sasuke was going to come on top. Amaterasu. Sasuke's eyes widened as he saw his fire being engulfed in the black flames. Chidori. Sasuke ran forward at a speed that surprised Itachi. Chidori Nagashi. Itachi jumped upward dodging the current. His eyes widened as he saw Sasuke already in front of him, his sword ready. Itachi was stabbed right in his heart, before dispersing into crows. A clone, thought Sasuke as he landed. He was grabbed from behind, and thrown backwards. He grunted in pain as he hit the ground. He jumped out of the way as the spot he landed on was caught in the black flames. Is that all you have? Asked Itachi. Sasuke narrowed his eyes. Fire style, Hozenka. Itachi skillfully dodged the barrage of small fireballs, before bending backwards just in time to dodge a Fuma Shuriken. As he came back up, he brought out another kunai to block another Fuma Shuriken. But it was different from the first. Chidori thought of Itachi. The shuriken cut right through the kunai, almost slicing his arm off. As he turned to look at his brother, his appearance had changed. The curse seal, he thought. Well, he's good with ninjutsu, let's see his genjutsu. His left Mangekyo, which had been closed during the whole encounter, opened, and his right closed. Sasuke narrowed his Sharingan eyes when he saw this. Well, what are you waiting for? Said Itachi. Chidori Senbon. Useless, thought Itachi. Fire style, Gokakyu. The fireball repelled all of the electric needles. Chidori. Itachi turned back, but it was too late. He was pierced right through the chest. You can't fool me, said Sasuke. Itachi's eyes widened as the world shattered. Itachi came to the real world, only for pain to spread all over his left eye, making him fall on his knees. Sasuke too fell, except he wasn't experiencing as much pain as Itachi was. How? Thought Itachi, holding his left eye as another wave of pain came. Sasuke activated his cursed seal up to the second stage as he stood back up. It's time, thought Sasuke. Fire style, Goryuka. The fire dragons went up to the sky, making Itachi confused, despite the pain he still felt. What was the point of that? Asked Itachi as the curse mark on Sasuke receded. Sasuke didn't respond as he brought his left arm up in the air, and thunderclouds appeared. Itachi narrowed his eyes as he saw this. Thunder appeared next, and afterwards a beast made of light came out of the clouds. Itachi's eyes widened when he saw it. Kirin. The jutsu struck as fast as Amaterasu. Sasuke panted as the entire area was destroyed. So it's over. Nice technique. His eyes widened as he saw Itachi, protected by Susanoo in its perfect form. I forgot about that, thought Sasuke, worried. I'm almost out of chakra. He tried to walk backwards, but instead fell backwards. Don't you have anything else? Asked Itachi. I have to push him. He suddenly coughed, blood coming out again. I don't have too much time left. I can give you power. Sasuke's eyes widened when he heard the voice. I don't need you, he thought. He. And, just imagine the creepy laugh, even as, creepy as it is. Shudder, really? Because to me, it looks like you're gonna lose. Is that what you want? Sasuke screamed as he transformed into a white, 8-headed snake. It's finally here, thought Itachi. The snake struck at Itachi's Susanoo. The heads wrapped around the Susanoo, before they were cut down, one by the Totsuka no Tsurugi. The last head stood back, lest it too was cut. It opened its mouth, and behold, Orochimaru came out, puking out his famous sword out of his mouth. At last, thanks to you I will finally have Sasuke-kun's body. And, I know, that's just wrong. Itachi simply smirked. Orochimaru was about to continue, but was impaled by the sword. His face twisted in pain, before smirking. Did you really think that would be enough to take me down? The next thing Orochimaru knew, he was suddenly being sealed away by the sword. Impossible. Itachi, he couldn't finish as we were sealed away completely. Sasuke was kneeling, panting hard, his Sharingan long since deactivated. Itachi turned to him, and began to walk towards him, slowly. Sasuke tried to get up, but failed miserably. Damn, my body feels heavy. He finally was able to stand up, walked back, Itachi still walking towards him. A few more steps, and Sasuke couldn't walk back anymore, a boulder from the debris blocking his path. Shit. Is this the end? Itachi was in front of him a couple of seconds later. He brought his right hand up, and poked Sasuke's forehead, Sasuke having a shocked look on his face. This is the end, little brother. His Susanoo deactivated, and Itachi fell forward, his head hitting the boulder before falling on his back, dead. A tear fell out of Sasuke's left eye, and he too fell on his back, next to his brother, where it began to rain. It's over, thought Naruto as he watched the whole fight from a safe distance. He saw Mikoto appear before her two sons. I don't get it. Just how is Itachi helping us by fighting Sasuke and dying? I don't know, answered Kurama, but I have a hunch. Which is? The tailed beast shook his head from within Naruto's mind. We'll see later, won't we? Poor Tachi-chan, said Kushina. Naruto narrowed his eyes. Well, as long as they keep their part, things should go well. Ha! You don't trust them fully, do you? Asked Kurama. Kushina stayed quiet. It doesn't matter whether I trust them or not. I suppose you're right. We should get going, said Kushina. After all, Naruto-kun, we have our own part to do. Naruto smirked. I suppose you're right. After I'm inside the village, the first thing I need to do is find whatever Mito left. After that, is where things begin. He disappeared. Konoha should prepare itself. Uzumaki Naruto was returning, but things would be different than before. Is it done? Asked Sasuke. Mikoto nodded. Yes, it is. But it will take a while for you to get used to them, so I suggest that you rest for now. How long will that take? He asked, touching the bandages covering his eyes. I don't know, answered Mikoto, in a couple of days, would be my guess. There's also the wounds from the battle with Itachi, so I would imagine that would lengthen the time till you're back to 100%. But once you have recovered to your top condition, you are to take the remainder of your team and head to IWA. Once you've arrived there, you're to wait for me to rendezvous with you. Sasuke raised a bandaged-covered eyebrow. IWA? For what reason? Mikoto smirked. Kumo is with Naruto, so we're gonna have to need our own hidden village to back us up, as well as help us in our goal overall. That old goat will no doubt agree if we promise to join his village, as well as tell him what our plans are regarding Konoha. I doubt that you're serious about us joining IWA, said Sasuke. Mikoto nodded. Of course I'm not serious. But it will help us win the old fool over. Sasuke nodded. Alright. But what about you? I'm heading to Kumo with the little kitty to pick up the Hachibi Jinchuriki, she answered. And Naruto? He left for Konoha a few hours ago, she said. And Obito headed towards the Nanabai Jinchuriki, she added. I see. Mikoto patted his head like a little kid, making Sasuke twitch in annoyance. For now just focus on recuperating. Okay little Sasu, she said like any mother who was talking to a 4-year-old. Sasuke twitched again. I gotta it. Mikoto smiled and started to walk out. Good. I'll see you in IWA then. Once she was outside the hideout, Mikoto came face to face with Yujito. You're ready. Good. I don't feel like waiting anymore. Yujito nodded, a smirk on her face. Of course. After all, you could turn to dust any second, right? Mikoto's eyebrows twitched. Don't be getting ahead of yourself, kitty. Would you stop calling me that, said Yujito, irritated at the nickname. Mikoto humphed. I'll think about it. She started to walk away, Yujito following her, albeit reluctantly. Where are we going? Asked Yujito. Kumo. Yujito raised an eyebrow. Why are we heading to Kumo? And where is everyone else? Mikoto stopped walking, Yujito almost bumping into her. First rule don't ask, just do. Yujito's eyes twitched. And why should I? She said in defiance. Mikoto turned towards her. You must have forgotten, but let me enlighten you. According to the agreement between your Raikage and Naruto, you were to follow Naruto's orders, and his orders were to follow mine. Got it? Yujito teached, but didn't say anything else. Mikoto smirked. Now that that's out of the way, shall we? Yujito didn't respond, just opting to follow her. This is not good, thought Yujito. Raikage-sama said to follow Naruto, but now I can't thanks to whatever it is that they discussed. And I can't say anything either, or else she'll get suspicious of me. The last thing I need is for her to find out that I contacted Raikage-sama. Too late for that. Please, kitten. Just be honest. What are you talking about now? Asked Yujito. You're just angry that your fox boy is no longer at your side. That does it. Nibby humphed. There's nothing that, wait what is that? Pause. That's not fair. What have I ever done to you? It all went quiet. Yujito mentally smirked. That should keep that sex-craved cat quiet for a while. Why does it even think that I'm attracted to Naruto anyway? I mean, sure he's strong, and handsome, and... Yujito blushed. What am I thinking? I've never even talked to him properly for God's sake. It must be Nibby getting to me. Yes, that's all that it is. Mikoto was having her own thoughts. Once I've convinced that old fool, I'm gonna have to get in contact with Naruto. Good thing that I remembered some of the emergency exits of the village. I should be able to get in through one of them. But the problem is going to be not being seen by anyone. There's no doubt Danzo is going to have a closer watch on him, and Tsunade might too. So how am I going to pull this off? Whatever, I'll think about that later. I have other things to think about at the moment. She continued towards Kumo, Yujito behind her. This place hasn't changed, said Kushina. Yeah, you're right, agreed Naruto. Currently he was standing in front of the gates of the great village of Konoha. He had a cloak covering his entire body, and his face, or else Umbu would be on him as soon as he stepped in. He was sure of that. Thanks to your chakra cloak, I'm extremely fast, said Naruto to Kurama. Kurama nodded. Of course. But that's not all that you can do with it, but more on that later. We should get a move on, said Kurama. Naruto mentally nodded, and started to walk towards the village. Kotetsu and Izumo, the great duo that guarded the village's main entrance gate, both raised their eyebrows at the cloaked figure. Excuse me, said Izumo, gaining the figure's attention. You have to sing in, finished Kotetsu for his partner and best friend. Guess I'm going to have to reveal myself, thought Naruto, walking towards them. It's for the best, said Kushina, after all, you don't want to create a mess here. Yet, Kushina sighed. Just do it. Naruto stood in front of Kotetsu and Izumo, not saying a word. Well, began Kotetsu, a little awkwardly, and took a sign in a book, and a pen. What is your name? Uzumaki Naruto. Both Kotetsu and Izumo stopped at that. What did you say your name was again? Asked Izumo. Naruto took the hood off. Uzumaki Naruto, he said again. Both guards went wide-eyed, before regaining their composers. You are to come with me to the Hokage immediately, said Izumo seriously, Kotetsu looking just as serious. Naruto mentally rolled his eyes. Idiots. He thought. Of course, he said out loud, lead the way. Izumo was surprised that Naruto didn't try anything as he stood up and led the way. Maybe he really is the same Naruto, and there was some kind of misunderstanding, he thought. Naruto was doing everything in his willpower from rolling his eyes as he followed Izumo. What kind of idiot doesn't check a potential enemy for weapons, leaves him uncuffed, and turns his back on him? He doesn't think that you're an enemy, remember, said Kurama. He's right, said Kushina. Naruto mentally sighed. I suppose. Just stay focused. You have to convince Tsunade that you aren't up to anything, and that you leaving Jiraiya doesn't have any other hidden motives, said Kushina. Naruto didn't respond to her, instead he looked around the village, all the happy villagers, going about their business. They should enjoy it while it lasts, he thought darkly. Think, thought Tsunade, looking at the map that she requested that was on her desk, if I were my grandmother, how would I hide something? But nothing came to her. She was a very careful woman, who always preferred to think things through before taking any action, she thought, but then sighed. There's also the fact that I distanced myself from her, so I really wasn't as close with her as I now want to be. She sighed sadly. How can I ever hope to find anything? And that's if she was even up to something. Tsunade-sama, said Shizune as she barged in. Taking in her assistant's shocked look, Tsunade asked, what is Shizune? Well, she began, someone is here to see you. Tsunade sighed. Is that really any reason for you to barge into my office? Shizune shook her head. You don't understand, Tsunade-sama. It's Naruto. Tsunade got quiet at that, before exploding. Well, why didn't you just say that in the first place then, she screamed. Send him in, immediately. Shizune nodded, and walked out. Tsunade folded the map, and placed it inside of one of the drawers. The brat's back, she thought. What the hell? Naruto followed Shizune inside the Hokage's office, looking around. Even this hasn't changed, commented Kushina. Naruto, said Tsunade as she went up to him and hugged him, Naruto hugging her back. I have to keep up the act. How's it going, Tsunade? Tsunade's eyes widened a bit at that. He hadn't called her Bachan. She shook out of it, ended the hug, and brought her fist back. Do you realize how worried you were about me? She brought her fist forward, intending on sending Naruto flying towards the wall. To her shock, as well as Shizune's, Naruto merely tilted his head to the right, avoiding her fist. Now that's not very nice, said Naruto. Tsunade kept staring at him with wide eyes. He dodged. He fucking dodged. Are you alright? Asked Naruto, a little amused. Tsunade shook her head, and walked back to her desk, and sat down. Yes, well, this is certainly a surprise, she said. Tsunade looked at Naruto seriously. Do you realize how much trouble you're in, brat? Naruto shrugged. Not really. I mean, I was on a training trip. Tsunade looked at him with a raised eyebrow. Really? Because last I heard, you disappeared. Naruto nodded. Yes, I did. But I was training. Wasn't that the purpose for me leaving the village in the first place? So that I could get stronger and have a chance against Akatsuki? Well, mission accomplished. Tsunade sighed. You're twisting this all around, Naruto. You left without a word, not a trace at all. Not to mention that you also ditched Jiraiya, who was supposed to be the one training you. Naruto snorted. Please. He wasn't training me. Tsunade raised an eyebrow, silently asking him what he meant. Naruto sighed at that, and took off the black cloak he had on. Tsunade raised another eyebrow at his new attire. Naruto now wore standard black umbu pants, black ninja sandals, a black long-sleeved shirt with the collars up, and a black cape with what appeared to be red flames at the end, and in kanji it had, the fox spirit, written on it in red. The Shodai necklace hangs loose around his neck. You should know how Jiraiya is, said Naruto, bringing her attention back to him, and at the fact that he hadn't called Jiraiya Ero Sennin. All he was doing was his research and not training me. And correct me if I'm wrong, but that was the purpose of the trip. He shrugged again. And you never did say that I had to do it with him, so I decided that it was best that I didn't continue it with him. Oh, said Tsunade. Then pray tell, who did you finish it with? Naruto smirked. With a few people here and there. No one is really special. TCH. Then that means you didn't accomplish anything. Now, just because someone isn't well known doesn't mean that he or she isn't strong. It just means that they're smart enough not to let people know how good they are. Fine, said Tsunade, throwing her hands in the air. Then what did you learn? She asked him. I doubt that he learned anything new. Muttered Naruto as he rubbed his chin. Good question. And the answer is that you'll see when I use whatever it is that I learned. Tsunade narrowed her eyes. This isn't the same Naruto. Not only has his appearance changed, but his attitude as well. I wonder what happened. Then how am I supposed to know how good you've gotten? Naruto shrugged. You'll see when I have to show it. Besides, ninjas need to keep secrets after all. He said the last part a bit darkly, but Tsunade didn't pay it too much attention. Damn it. He's really not going to tell me anything. In that case. Well then, I'm going to have to evaluate you. Naruto sighed. Fine. But can we do that later? I'm a bit tired from the trip and would like to relax. Tsunade nodded. Alright. We'll do it tomorrow morning, so you have the rest of the day to relax. Be here in my office at 8 a.m. Naruto bowed. Thank you, Hokage-sama. He then walked out of the office. Tsunade folded her hands together, bringing them close to her face. Something is not right here. He's definitely not the same Naruto. I need to keep my eye on him, but if I send Umbu to keep track of him, and if he finds out, I'll lose his trust. Or whatever trust one have at the moment. She sighed. Tsunade-sama, what are we going to do? Asked Shizun. I don't know, answered Tsunade. He might be like my grandmother in that aspect, keeping secrets. She mentally chuckled. They're both Uzumakis. Her eyes widened. That's it, screamed Tsunade, making Shizun jump in surprise. What's it? Said Shizun, but Tsunade paid her no mind. Instead she brought the map out that was on her desk earlier. My grandmother was a true Uzumaki at heart, and what do Uzumaki specialize in? Seals. Also a perfect way to hide something you don't want anyone else to find, she thought while gazing at the map. Now the question is, where can I find it? And does it even exist in the first place? Nice act, Naruto-kun, said Kushina. Thanks. But right now the important thing is to find whatever Mito left behind. Are you sure you want to do that right now? Asked Kurama. That Senju woman might be sending someone to keep an eye on you. As well as that Danzo. Naruto mentally shook his head. Thanks to your chakra, I can sense anyone that might be trying to spy on me. And I don't think that Tsunade will send any Umbu to spy on me. She cares too much about me to ever consider me a threat. Well, until it's too late, that is. There's still Danzo, Kushina reminded him. Oh yes. But like I said, I'll be able to sense whoever he sends after me. And I don't think that he'll risk sending his men out. But even if he does, I'll just say that I'm sightseeing. This is also going to be the best time for me to do this. Alright. As he made his way towards the Hokage mountain, he noticed something. Looks like they added Tsunade's face up there. Not surprising, I guess. Another thought came to his mind as well. Oi, Kurama. You mind explaining to me what your hunch is regarding what happened with Sasuke? Kurama sighed. I guess it's better to tell you now. I'm not sure if it's 100% accurate, but my guess is that now the Uchiha will have the Manjikyu, and if that woman is as cunning as I think she is, the brat might be getting the Eternal, which is in a way the final step to the Sharingan. Unless you somehow get both Senju and Uchiha DNA together like with you, in which case you would possess the Rinnegan. I see. Are you sure? Asked Kushina. Of course I am. The key to activating the Mangekyo is for you to feel regret. There's no doubt in my mind that the Uchiha brat would feel regret about killing his brother, knowing that he wasn't responsible for the massacre of the Uchihas. Not that I care how or who did it, just that it happened. Mikoto said that Konoha ordered Itachi to massacre the Uchiha clan, and that they were betrayed, but there has to be a reason. Konoha loves its bloodlines after all. And a clan like the Uchiha possessing such a strong bloodline. Yes, something had to have happened for Konoha to take such a course of action. Kurama shrugged. Like I said, I don't care. I'm just glad that it happened. Naruto sighed. You might not care, but I would like to know just what happened for that night to occur. Naruto-kun, the Uchiha clan has always been shrouded in mystery. They were always feeling like they weren't important to the village. I would know since Mikoto came from an important family from within the clan, and we were best friends back then. She told me how the elders of the clan were becoming more and more concerned with how things were going. It was the war that kept their minds off of it though, said Kushina. Well, I'm just going to have to ask her the next time I see her then. I still think it might be a waste of time. Naruto didn't respond to the tailed beast. We're here. Naruto took the entrance for the caves within the heads of each Hokage. The Shodai Hokage. That's right, but I don't know what we're looking for, though, said Kurama. We should just go the Shodai's face, said Kushina. Naruto walked in, going through each cave within the faces, following each tunnel, until he was in the cave within the face of the legendary Senju Hashirama. He looked around, not noticing anything out of place. I don't see anything. Concentrate, ordered Kushina. I'll be looking as well. Naruto concentrated harder, looking at the cave with a shinobi's eyes instead of a civilian's. As he gazed around, something caught his eyes. That's it, said Kushina, also noticing it. There was an almost unnoticeable swirl at one of the ends of the cave, but more specifically, the Uzumaki clan symbol. Normal civilians would have missed it, as well as shinobi, although less likely. But if a shinobi were to have noticed it, they would have dismissed it as a normal crack or formation. Naruto walked to it, and kneeled, running one of his hands across the symbol. This is definitely not a normal formation, alright, even though it's been made to look like it, though Naruto That's Mito-sama for you, said Kushina with a chuckle. That's good and all, interrupted Kurama, but just what is this supposed to mean? Or better yet, what are we supposed to do? Good question, didn't Mito give you any clues? Kurama shook his head. No, she didn't. All she said was that only an Uzumaki could ever hope to find it. Kushina's eyes widened in realization within Naruto's mind. I gotta do it. This has to be some sort of seal. Naruto whistled. A seal, huh? If that's the case, then she really was an expert with them. Yes, she was, but never mind about that right now. Naruto-kun, I want you to run your hand across the symbol again, except this time pierce one of your fingers for your blood to come out and for it to be distinguished by the seal. Naruto did as he was told, understanding what the seal was supposed to do. Once he had finished, the symbol glowed red, before there was a crack underneath it, and then another one, until a scroll came out. Naruto chuckled as he picked the scroll up. I see. If anybody were to have noticed the symbol and deduced that it wasn't natural, but that it could be something else, possibly some sort of seal, they still would never have been able to access it since they weren't an Uzumaki, and therefore lacked the DNA that marks you as one, and the seal would never reveal what it was holding. So that's what she meant when she said that only an Uzumaki could ever hope to find it. Naruto chuckled more as he stood up. She must have placed some sort of identification that only Uzumaki blood could open it up, even if that person wasn't a complete Uzumaki. I'm really starting to like my ancestors. Kushina laughed. I know. She really was a genius. The best kunoichi that the elemental nations have ever seen. Let's praise her later, said Kurama. For now, open the scroll, Naruto. Naruto did, but it wasn't what he was expecting. What is this, he thought, looking at what the scroll contained. Seems like our work is not over yet, commented Kurama. It's a map, stated Naruto. But a map of what? I know what this is, exclaimed Kushina. This is a map of the underground network of the village. But it looks a lot different than from what I remember. It must be from her time. How did you know that? Asked Naruto as walked back out. Kushina chuckled. Oh Naruto-kun, have you forgotten that I was the wife of Minato, who was the Yondaime Hokage? I saw him handle a lot of different documents that were top secret. He trusted you that much? Asked Kurama. Yes, he did. She didn't say anything else on the matter. It came in handy, thought Naruto as he stood outside on top of the Shodai's face. Now, looks like we're heading underground. We have a situation. Toby stopped walking and turned to look at Zetsu. What's the problem now? It would seem that the Kyubi Jinchuriki has returned to Konoha, answered White Zetsu. Toby didn't have a visible reaction. When? He asked. About an hour or so. It was Black Zetsu who answered this time. Zetsu really is the best spy in the elemental nations, thought Toby. Well, this really is some unexpected news. First he leaves Jiraiya, and now he returns to the village of his own free will. I might be going crazy, but something is not right about that. Wouldn't you agree? It could be anything. Itachi did say the Kyubi Jinchuriki wasn't very smart. Toby sighed. That was 2 years ago, almost 3. People change. But only under extreme circumstances, said White Zetsu. Toby nodded. That's true. What are we going to do about this? Tell Pain that he is now in charge of capturing the Kyubi, and that I will not tolerate any failure, he answered. It will be done. And what of the female Uchiha? Asked White Zetsu. She hasn't shown up yet like you predicted. It's still too soon, answered Toby. But she will come. For now, the hunt for the Kyubi Jinchuriki will be put on hold. Once Pain has killed her, then we shall move on the Kyubi. And what of the Nibi? Nothing yet, answered White Zetsu. For now, me and Deidara will continue searching for the Sanbai. Inform me immediately if you hear anything about Uchiha Mikoto, as well as what happens with Kakuzu and Haiden. We're on it. Zetsu disappeared underground. Toby, where are you? Toby sighed again, before going into his cover mode. I'm right here, Deidara-senpai. Damn it. Tsunade-sama, please calm down. Tsunade took deep breaths, helping her in calming her down. Thank God Shizune had managed to convince her to take those anger management classes. They didn't find anything, thought Tsunade in irritation. She had sent a team of Umbu to the village's underground network to search for anything that might look suspicious, or anything that could be some sort of seal or anything related to that sort. But they had come empty-handed. Looks like I was wrong. My grandmother wasn't up to anything. But why doesn't that make me feel better? Then there was a knock on her door, and guess who it was? TCH. Thought Tsunade. Not these old farts. Greeting Tsunade, said Hamura in a friendly tone as he, Koharu, and Danzo walked in. Tsunade sighed. Alright, I'm only going to say this once I am not in the mood, so cut the crap, and tell me why you're here. Both Hamura and Koharu had annoyed looks on their faces, but Danzo kept his usual emotionless look. Yes, well, began Koharu, we just heard something interesting. Oh? And what is that? Asked Tsunade, feigning ignorance. That Uzumaki Naruto has returned, finished Hamura for his teammate. Yes, he has. Hamura and Koharu were beginning to get more and more annoyed. So? Why hasn't he been arrested? Said Hamura, raising his voice a bit. Arrested? Repeated Tsunade. Last time I checked, he hadn't broken any laws. Have you forgotten that he left the village without permission? Stated Koharu, more calmly than her teammate. Why he wasn't listed as a rogue ninja, well that I don't know. Rogue ninja? Said Tsunade. Age must be getting to you. Both elders got tick marks on their heads, but Danzo just kept silent. You are misinterpreting the whole thing. Naruto was on a training trip that I authorized. Really? Spoke Danzo for the first time with some sarcasm. Because it would seem that you and Jiraiya lost track of him. I doubt that that counts as a training trip. Tsunade snorted. I never said that he was training with Jiraiya exclusively, did I? He merely finished his training by himself, nothing else to it. Danzo's hand on his cane clenched. Is she serious? He thought. Tsunade mentally smirked. I guess the brat's excuse worked for me as well. But I'm not finished with him. Now then, honorable elders, would you mind leaving my office so that I can concentrate on my duties? Hamura and Koharu left without another word, pissed. Danzo stared at her for a couple of seconds, and then headed towards the door. Before he walked out, he spoke, you and I both know that you don't buy that excuse. Tsunade narrowed her eyes at him. And if you do, he continued, then that's pathetic. I know that you care about him, but you are the Hokage. That boy is up to something. I only hope that you open your eyes before it's too late. He walked out the room. Tsunade brought her fist down on the desk, but thankfully didn't use her super strength. That bastard, but he's right about one thing. The brat is definitely up to something. What is it? You are now in charge of capturing the Kyubi Jinchuriki. Toby expects there to be no failures. Pain didn't even turn to look at him. I thought I was supposed to deal with the female Uchiha. She comes first of course, said White Zetsu with a grin, but Toby wanted you to know that the Kyubi will be your target once you've dealt with the Uchiha. It will be done. Zetsu sank back into the ground, heading towards his next objective. It seems that you were right, said Konan softly as she came into the room. Yes. Pain looked at the village from the balcony he was sitting on, where it was still raining. Konan looked at her last remaining friend that was currently using the body of the man she once loved. Why do I get the feeling that things will get a lot worse from here on out? Konan shook her head. No, I shouldn't be thinking that way. We will capture all the tailed beasts, including the Kyubi. And then peace shall come, not only to AIM, but to the world. This place is fucked up. Oh, stop your whining, Naruto-kun. Besides, we're almost there. Naruto stopped in front of a dead end. He was currently on the third floor of the underground system. This is where the map points to. But there's nothing. He stopped, and then turned his Rinnegan on. What is it? Asked Kurama. Well, she really is cunning. How did she know? Muttered Kushina quietly to herself. Thanks to the Rinnegan, Naruto was able to see the chakra running all along through the wall, all converging to one spot right in the middle, where a paper seal was placed. Only someone with a dojutsu would be able to find this, thought Naruto. Indeed. Agreed Kurama. Naruto placed his right hand at the spot where the chakra converged, flaring his own chakra, making the seal break in half. Naruto stepped back as the wall shook, and then crumbled into pieces. Naruto walked into the now accessible room, shutting his Rinnegan off. He looked around before spotting another scroll stuck in the back wall. He made his way towards it with caution. Who knows if Mito had set any other booby traps? As he stood in front of it, no traps apparently, he took the second scroll from the wall. Something tells me that this is it, said Kurama. I agree, said Kushina. Naruto opened the scroll and, indeed, there was a letter addressed to him. Finally. He started to read it. Greetings young Uzumaki, there's no doubt in my mind that you have a lot of questions at the moment. But don't fret, I will, hopefully, answer all of your questions. First, let me congratulate you for finding this. This also means that everything is going according to plan. And of course, that raises the first, and probably the most present question of them all: how? How do I know all of this? The answer, whether you will believe it or not, lies within the man that history portraits as a traitor and a failure. The reason I know all of this is because he told me all of it thanks to an ability that he possesses with the final form of his dojutsu, the Rinnegan. To not beat around the bush, the man that I'm talking about is Uchiha Madara. That's right, Uchiha Madara is the man that is responsible for me knowing what I know. There's no doubt that the reason he told me the things that he did was so that I could help him with his revenge on the village, but it does not matter to me. The fact that my clan, and yours, is now gone in part because of this village is what matters to me. I know that you probably don't feel as strongly as I do about this since you never knew them, but the fact that you're reading this means that you plan to destroy the village, which is good enough for me. Back to the topic at hand, Uchiha Madara, thanks to the Rinnegan that he gained after fighting my husband in Shodai Hokage, was able to see through time after mastering his Rinnegan. Yes, no, it sounds far-fetched, but that's just one power gained with the unification of the Senju and Uchiha, descendants of the Sage of Sixth Paths. And thanks to it, I was able to see what would happen in the future, and who and what you are. You must be wondering what I'm talking about, but don't worry, someday you'll see what you're meant to do and how special you are. After he told me, I planned for a way for you to find all of this out. And thanks to Kyuubi, that was made possible. I knew that you would somehow end up being the third Jinchuriki, but I don't know the circumstances. Madara was never specific. I don't know why, but I decided to not question it. Somehow he maintained his youth that surpassed that of the Uzumaki clan, but I'm sure that by the time you're reading this, he should be dead. So while I was old and weary, near death, he was still young, not a teenager, but young, at least younger than me in appearance. I wouldn't have had a chance against him. Not that I would have tried to fight him, even if I were in top condition. Now you know how I knew all of this. The rest is up to you. I know that you will have your own method to do this, as well as your allies. I also know that taking revenge for the Uzumaki clan isn't your main reason or concern, but like I said, it does not matter to me. As long as this village gets what it deserves, I will be happy. I wish you luck, and if you have any other questions left, they will be answered within time. Yours truly, Uzumaki Mito. Naruto closed the scroll, his eyes closed. Uchiha Madara, said Kurama with disgust, I see now why he challenged Hashiramu at the Valley of the End. So that's how she knew, commented Kushina, but I never imagined that Madara would be involved in this. Guess Mito-sama really was desperate. Kurama humphed. Not really. Konoha betrayed its very own founders. Well, I don't know about what happened with the Uchihas, but the Senjus certainly were. Naruto-kun, what now? We know what Mito-sama wanted us to know. Naruto, who had been silent, started to laugh. Incredible. Who would have thought that Mito was like this? You mess with family, and you die, stated Kushina with an emotionless voice. Naruto laughed some more as he headed back. Uzumaki Mito, what a crafty woman. Why? Why are you doing this? Heh, it's not important. I only need your Kyuubi. That's all. The Kyuubi? You're going to destroy Konoha. Ha 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 ha. Why are you laughing? If only you knew what this village has done. Not that it matters since you're going to die here. Naruto woke up with a start, clutching his head in pain, sweating and panting heavily. What was that? He wondered to himself. So you're awake? Kurama, what just happened? Kurama sighed. It seems that you have just experienced an old memory. Of my mother, right? That's correct. How? He asked, as he got out of bed in his apartment and made his way to his bathroom. I don't know. Somehow your consciousness must be merging with each other. It's unexpected. Naruto splashed himself with cold water, enjoying the feeling of the water on his skin. Where is she now? Somewhere deeper inside your mind. She said that she wanted to know more about your past. She seemed certain that you wouldn't mind. Naruto mentally nodded as he went to lie back on his bed. Good. I don't want her to know about this. Is that clear, Kurama? Yeah, I understand. Naruto sighed as he laid there, thinking about what was going to happen the next day. I'm going to have to fight someone tomorrow, what an annoyance. Really? I was expecting that you would be happy to fight someone from this village. To kill them. Not for a simple spar, Kurama snorted. Yeah, I should have guessed. Naruto smirked. I'm surprised that you didn't. Whatever. Who do you think it's gonna be? I don't know. It could be anyone. Naruto then thought about his mother's memory. She was scared. Yes, she was. It was the night you were born. The night that Mad the Mask guy extracted me from her. It was the second time in her life that she felt fear. Second? Kurama nodded. Yes. The first was when she was kidnapped by Kyumo. So that's why. Why what? Never mind. Naruto narrowed his eyes. I'll make sure that she never feels fear again. Big claim. I don't think you'll be able to keep it. And why is that? Because she cares about you. And the fact is that you're doing something very dangerous that could get you killed. I think that she will feel fear, but not for herself, but fear of losing you again. You saw it in the dream, right? Yes, she was worried about Konoha, but in the back of her mind she was also thinking about you. And how do you know that? Because she's your mother. And if there is something that I know about you humans is that the mother always worries about her child. Well, most do anyway. Naruto chuckled. Yeah, I suppose you're right about that. Kurama snorted. Of course I'm right. I'm the Kyuubi. Obito shook his head in disgust as he walked. He had arrived at Taki a couple of hours ago in search of the Jinchuriki of the Nanabi. A task that was not hard to accomplish. Besides Kyumo, and even then it was just recently, every other village treated their Jinchuriki like garbage, and this place was no different, which is the reason why he was shaking his head. Humans can be such ignorant creatures, he thought to himself. He was currently on his way to the outskirts of the village, which is where the Jinchuriki lived. There was no doubt that it wouldn't be too difficult to get the Jinchuriki to come with him. She was despised, if the fact that when he had asked for her the villagers became disgusted was any indication. Taki wasn't one with great shinobi, which meant less protection, which just made his job easier, so he didn't have to worry about being discovered. As he arrived, he noticed the poor condition in which the establishment was in, but decided not to dwell on it. After he knocked, he heard movement from the inside, and the door opening, if barely. "What do you want?" said a very feminine voice. "I'm here to offer you a proposition," said Obito, getting straight to the point. It would be better if he did this quickly. "No, I will not sleep with you no matter what you say you're going to do," snapped Fu. She was quite sick of being asked that by many, if not all, men of the village. She knew that it was just some sick bet that they had come up with just to see who could tame the demon. They went as far as to offer her money, threatened her, and many other things that she had thankfully forgotten. Obito raised an eyebrow when he heard that. "No, I'm not here for that kind of proposition." Fu narrowed her eyes. That's a first, she thought in anger, but might as well see just what they came up with this time. "Then what is your proposition?" Obito knew that if he asked to come in she would take it the wrong way, so he decided to explain things out here. "I know for a fact that you are not treated well in this village. I also know the reason for that," he added, making Fu narrow her eyes more. "So you're not from here, are you?" she asked him. Obito nodded. "That's correct. I'll be honest with you, I don't care about you, least of all about your past. The only reason that I'm here is because you'll be important for what we plan to do." Fu looked him straight in the eyes, trying to see if he was telling the truth or not. After a couple of seconds of this, she opened the door completely. "You still haven't told me about your proposition," she stated. It was Obito's turn to look her in the eyes. "I'm here to get you out of the village, if you agree, that is." Fu's eyes widened at this. What did you just say?" "That's correct." Fu came out of her shock and glared at him. "And why should I do that? I may not be liked here, but at least I know that I'm safe here." Obito humphed when he heard that. "Safe? I highly doubt that. I don't know if you're trying to deceive me or yourself, but we both know that safe is the last thing that you are here." Fu knew that he was right, but her glare didn't disappear. "And? Are you saying that going with a total stranger to who knows where is considered safe?" Obito shook his head. "No, it isn't. But at the moment you don't have a choice." Fu tensed when she heard that, preparing to defend herself if need be. "And what's that supposed to mean?" Obito noticed the change in her posture, and smirked. "Don't worry. I wasn't talking about me. If I was, you'd already be dead or unconscious." "Then who are you talking about?" she asked him. He pointed to the path in which he came from. "Those two." Fu looked at where he was pointing at, and true, two men wearing cloaks covered in red clouds were walking towards them. "Who are they?" asked Fu, a little nervous. "Annoyances," was the answer she received. Obito turned to the newcomers. Kakuzu and Haiden stopped a few feet away from them. "And I thought the Jinchuriki wasn't popular," muttered Kakuzu as he gazed at the black-haired individual. "Who cares?" said Haiden, his usual smirk in its place. "It just means that I'm able to make a sacrifice." Kakuzu merely grunted in annoyance at that. Obito in turn gave them a black stare. "Fu," he said quietly, catching the younger girl's attention, "stay behind me. You wouldn't be able to handle them." Like any proud kunoichi, Fu wanted to lash out and deny that statement, but something in her gut told her to listen to what the man in front of her told her. Obito activated his Sharingan, shocking both Kakuzu and Haiden, but for different reasons. "Another one," thought Kakuzu, "just what is going on? First that woman, and now him. Something is not right here." Haiden was more vocal though. "Yes," he screamed, a crazy look on his face. Finally I found one of you Uchihas. I'll show you just how strong I really am. Obito kept staring at him with his blank stare that said, I don't give a rat's ass what you say. This just made Haiden more pissed. You think you're so cool just because you have those eyes, don't you? He took out his scythe. Well, I'll show you just how useless they really are. Before Kakuzu could warn him about rushing in without a plan, Haiden did just that. Obito merely smirked as Haiden's scythe went right through him, shocking everyone present there. What? Thought Kakuzu, alarmed. What kind of jutsu is that? Before Haiden could react, Obito grabbed him by both of his shoulders, and sucked him into his dimension. Kakuzu could only watch with wide eyes as his partner was sucked into a vortex, disappearing. Well then, said Obito, making Kakuzu tense, now that that idiot is out of the way, why don't we have a chat? About? Asked Kakuzu. Obito smirked. I know what kind of guy you are, Kakuzu. You only care about money, one of the reasons you joined Akatsuki in the first place, the other being that you didn't have a choice. How does he know? Thought Kakuzu to himself. What are you getting at? He asked him. Join me. Kakuzu's eyes widened, before they went back to normal. And how would that benefit me? Obito shrugged. For one, you don't die, he stated, making Kakuzu grunt. The other is that you would be paid very well. The Uchiha clan is a wealthy clan after all. And I know that you don't particularly like Akatsuki. Kakuzu nodded his head. You make a fine point, but I'm going to have to decline. Akatsuki would hunt me down no matter what. That would be too much of an inconvenience in one's life. Obito sighed. I figured as much. If you already knew that I was going to say no, why offer it to me in the first place? Simple, I was told to gather allies, and I thought that you would make a fine selection. Told? Who told you to? Obito shook his head. Sorry. Can't say. Besides, it won't matter. You're going to die here today. Kakuzu tore his cloak off. That may be, but I won't go down without a fight. Obito shook his head. No matter what you do, it will fail. Just give up. It'll be easier for both of us. Kakuzu ignored him, and instead one of Kakuzu's masks opened up. Fire style, Zukaku. Obito yawned as the compressed fireball made its way towards him before erupting into a giant firestorm. Fu jumped out of the way of the jutsu, and saw that her house was caught in the blast. She wanted to cry as she landed on a nearby tree branch. It may not have been much, but it was her home her entire life. Kakuzu gazed at the now crater that he had created, trying to see if he had hit the Uchiha. Not bad, said a voice from behind him, making his eyes widen, but you would have to be a lot faster to hit me. Before he could get away, he too was sucked away. As he finished teleporting Kakuzu to his dimension, Obito turned towards Fu, who landed beside him. Sorry about your house, he said as he pointed to, or what was, her house. Fu shook her head. It doesn't matter now. But just what was that jutsu that you used? I've never seen anything like it. Obito turned away from her. That's a secret. Now, are you coming with me or not? You mind explaining to me what is going on? Just who were those 2 foot? What were they doing here? What did they want? Those 2 were from an organization called Akatsuki, and their goal is to capture the tailed beasts, one which is sealed inside of you, so you can guess what they were doing here, he answered, making Fu look kind of freaked out. An entire organization is after me? Yes, an entire organization, composed of S-class ranked criminals I might add, is after you. And just let me tell you that those 2 weren't the strongest ones either. So, if I go with you I'll be safe from them? Asked Fu, kind of hopeful. From them? Repeated Obito. Yes. From danger? No. What are you talking about? Obito folded his arms. I already told you. I was told to look for allies, and that it was to help us with what we're planning. And don't worry, you won't be alone. The remaining Jinchuriki are going to join us. Fu looked kind of happy at that, before her face took a confused look. What do you mean, we? You'll know if you will come with me. But don't worry, you're not going to be harmed by any of us. Fu nodded. Alright. It'll be better than staying here, that's for sure. Obito walked towards her and put a hand on her shoulder. You're going to be kind of dizzy after this. Wait, didn't you send those other two over there too? Don't worry. I can control where you will be. For Fu, everything was spinning after that. Obito looked around before jumping away, a smirk placed on his face. Now that asshole will know that I'm still here. Zetsu appeared in one of the tree trunks. That guy, he uses the same jutsu Toby does. Yeah. Just what is going on? I don't know. But this is becoming troublesome. Just how many Uchihas are still alive? Who knows? Do you think that somehow Itachi did this on purpose? I don't think so. He was shocked when he saw that woman. That's true. For now we better report to Toby. Tsunade, I'm here. Tsunade rubbed her forehead in annoyance as Jiraiya busted through one of the windows. Will you ever use the door? Jiraiya shook his head. Forget about that. Is it true? Is the brat back? Tsunade nodded. Yes. But you should know that he's not the same. Jiraiya's excitement died with that. What are you talking about? I mean, it's been almost 3 years. So the brat got taller. It's not that, interrupted Tsunade. His whole appearance changed, but most of all his attitude is different. Just what do you mean? Tsunade sighed. I don't know. I just have this bad feeling. Don't worry, okay, said Jiraiya reassuringly. I'm sure that you're just imagining things. I really hope so. Muttered Tsunade. Well, where is he? Asked Jiraiya, beginning to get excited again. Don't worry, you'll meet him in about 2 hours or so. 2 hours? What's going to happen in 2 hours? Asked Jiraiya. The brat's being stubborn, she said through gritted teeth, he won't tell me what he learned. Well, he probably didn't learn anything and doesn't want you to know that, said Jiraiya with a shrug. Which reminds me. Tsunade stood up, and she grabbed her office chair that she was sitting on just a few moments ago and threw it at Jiraiya, the latter dodging it. The chair broke through the wall, making the secretary outside faint. What the hell? Screamed Jiraiya. That's for not teaching your godson, you damn fucking pervert. And there's still a lot more to come, she screamed back, walking towards him menacingly, making Jiraiya bring his hands up to his face for protection. What are you talking about? Naruto told me how all you were doing was peeping on women at the bathhouses and not training him at all. The reason I gave you permission to take him outside the village was so that you can teach him, not to go and peep. I'm sorry, okay, he said, really meaning it, which stopped Tsunade. I know I was wrong. But there's nothing that I can do about it now, except teach him like I was supposed to. Tsunade snorted. Please, he doesn't want to train with you anymore. Did he tell you that? He asked, a little sad. No, he didn't, she admitted, but I could tell that he doesn't want to train with you. Jiraiya became depressed when he heard that. Looks like I screwed up. Yes, you did, stated Tsunade with no remorse. Jiraiya deserved it, and even he himself knew that he did. Well, I'll just see what he learned, and hopefully he'll give me another chance. I doubt it. Muttered Tsunade, which Jiraiya ignored. Did you tell anyone else that he's back? He asked her. Tsunade shook her head. No. His friends will find out eventually, but some people already know. Jiraiya knew who she was talking about. They know, huh? Tsunade nodded. Yes, they do. They came here earlier asking me what I was going to do about it. How are you going to test him anyway? I'll have Kakashi test both him and Sakura. Well, he already knows what to expect from Sakura, but that's not the point. Learning what Naruto knows is the key here. Yeah, you're right, agreed Jiraiya. Tsunade-sama, screamed Shizune on the other side of the broken wall. Shit. Are you ready for Naruto-kun? Best as I'll ever be, he answered with no enthusiasm. He was currently on his way to his old team's training ground. Kushina sighed at this. Be a little bit more positive. Besides, we have to find a way to get to Danzo. Your mother is right, brat. That's the tricky part here. Well, I'm already inside the village. If I could only get a spy inside his organization, then everything would be easier. You could always seduce one of his female subordinates, suggested Kurama. Kushina silently growled when she heard this. Whether from being a protective mother, or being jealous, she didn't know. That could possibly work, agreed Naruto, but the problem is that we have to find one first. And I'm sure that he doesn't let them walk around the village freely. Yes, that is a problem. We'll worry about that later, interrupted Kushina, annoyed clearly in her voice. Right now focus on defeating whoever it is that you're going to face without showing too much of what you learned. I know that. But I do wonder who I'm going to face. As he arrived at the training field, he immediately recognized a familiar face. Well, she's grown. Sakura, when she spotted the familiar spiky blonde hair and whiskers, gasped. And Naruto? Aye, is that why you? Naruto raised an eyebrow when she spoke. She stutters like Hinata, weird. I say it's contagious, stated Kurama. Yes, it's me. Sakura took in his new appearance and blushed. He looks handsome, but wait. When did you get back? Last night. Why did you leave the village? She screamed, ignoring the first question she asked, as well as the answer. I was on a training trip, remember, he answered sarcastically as he went to one of the trees and sat under its shade. But Tsunade-sama said. Forget it, he interrupted, I don't have to explain myself to you. Sakura was shocked at what she heard, and most of all hurt. He's not the same Naruto that I knew. That was cold, commented Kurama. Like I care. Kushina, having viewed most of her son's memories, knew that he had once had a crush on the girl before him, but it would seem that that was dead too. I shouldn't be surprised, but why am I relieved, she wondered to herself. So he showed up on time. Kakashi, who had been told about Naruto's return by Tsunade, appeared on top of one of the tree's branches that Naruto was currently resting on. Yo, he said and gave his usual eye smile. Sakura, who was still trying to come to terms with the new Naruto, jumped in surprise. Kakashi-sensei. Better pull yourself together, Sakura. We have a test to commence, said Kakashi as Naruto stood up and walked next to Sakura. Test? Repeated Sakura, confused. Naruto already knew what it was. Yes. Since Naruto returned from his training trip, I want to see if you two can still work as a team. Naruto knew that was just a lie. They just want to know what I'm capable of. Too bad they won't find out till it's too late. Sakura nodded. I understand, she determined, glancing at Naruto, who looked bored. Tsunade-sama did say he changed, thought Kakashi a little worried, although he didn't show it. Alright, he began placing a clock on one of the posts. You have till 9 p.m. to get one of the bells. Sakura adjusted her battle gloves, while Naruto still looked bored. Kakashi uncovered his Sharingan eye. And remember to come with the intent to kill me. Jiraiya, Tsunade, and Shizune, who was currently holding Taunton, watched everything from a safe distance. Well, now we'll see what the brat learned, and he really has changed. He looks just like his father. Tsunade nodded. Yeah. And the test begins. What is it now? Things are starting to get too complicated. Toby turned his head from the view of the lake to look at Zetsu. What are you talking about? There's another Uchiha, answered White Zetsu, and this one seems to possess your ocular powers. Tobi's eyes narrowed at that. So you're still alive. Where did you see him? At Taki. He disposed of Kakuzu and Haiden. Probably already killed them. And what of the Nanabai Jinchuriki? He took her with him. And there appears to be more of them. It's likely that he is with the Uchiha woman, Itachi, and who knows who else is working together. Tobi clenched his hands together in anger. My plan will not fail. I will not allow him to ruin it. He stood up. This is starting to get on my nerves. What will you do? The Sanbai is nearby. Once we have sealed it, we shall focus on these nuisances. Understood. Tobi turned back to stare at the water of the lake in front of him. So, you're going to go through with this plan of yours, aren't you? Of course I am. This is my goal, a world where everyone is the same, where everyone is one, and it doesn't matter who or what you are. It's ridiculous and childish, but I guess in a way you are a child. Don't belittle me. Just because you created me doesn't mean a thing. I didn't create you. You are merely a mistake, a shadow of what you really are. I'll show you. Once my world is created, you will know that you were wrong. The whole world will know that they were wrong. And that's where it is childish. You are merely trying to prove your existence, when in fact your existence means nothing. You are nothing. You are no one. And no matter what you do, no matter what you say, even if you accomplish your plan, you will still be nothing. Nothing but a fake. His Sharingan flared. I will kill you, Uchiha Obito. That's a promise. Silence. No sound could be heard within the old Team 7 training ground with the exception of leaves rustling due to a soft breeze blowing. Not to mention the tense atmosphere that came with it. Kakashi, with his Sharingan activated, stared at two of his old students from across the field, ready to defend when they attacked. He was merely there to test both of them and see how stronger they had gotten, especially Naruto since no one knew where he had been for the past 2 years or what he had learned. So he merely waited to see what they would do, hoping that they would work as a team. Jiraiya, Tsunade, and Shizune who was holding Taunton were anxiously waiting to see what would happen. They were a safe distance away watching from a tree branch. It's been almost 5 minutes, muttered Jiraiya, why aren't they doing anything? Kakashi is merely evaluating them, said Tsunade, so he has no reason to attack, for now at least. Although the fact that Naruto hasn't jumped in and attacked yet, that's surprising. Shizune nodded silently, worried at the change of personality of Naruto. Jiraiya sighed. You're right about that. I just hope we get to see something here. That's the whole point of this. Muttered Tsunade to herself. Back with Kakashi, Sakura, and Naruto, the atmosphere was more tense. Sakura gulped and adjusted her gloves. She glanced at Naruto, taking in his calm posture. He's not worried in the least, she thought to herself. She then looked back at Kakashi. I'll worry about that later. First, we have to get those bells from Kakashi-sensei. Easier said than done. But we're gonna have to do something sooner or later. You know, brat, standing still doing nothing will not help you get past this, commented Kurama within Naruto's mind. Well, if they think I'm gonna make the first move then they're seriously mistaken, responded Naruto. Yes, but if the Haruno girl or Kakashi don't do something, then you'll probably not have a choice, said Kushina. Naruto mentally sighed. I know. And that's what's annoying me. We have more important things to do than this. Then do something already, screamed Kurama. Naruto didn't respond to that. Rather he glanced sideways at Sakura before turning his attention back to Kakashi. A few more seconds of nothingness, and he reached his limit. Screw this. The next thing everyone saw was Kakashi flying back right into a tree and Naruto occupying the spot with his leg raised up, having delivered a powerful kick to Kakashi. What was that about you not making the first move? Asked Kushina amused, to which Naruto ignored. Fast, said Jiraiya with wide eyes. I barely saw him move. Tsunade was in a similar state along with Shizun. So the brat did learn something, thought Tsunade. Sakura could only stare at Naruto's back with wide eyes. How did he? Kakashi stood up holding his stomach and wincing. He then looked at Naruto. He caught me off guard, he thought, wincing some more. I didn't expect him to be this fast. And the force in that kick, while not at Tsunade's level, still hurts like a bitch. I can't let him hit me much more or else it won't end well. But now that I know how fast he is. Sakura, said Naruto, making said Kunoichi look at him. Aren't you going to do something? Or do you expect me to do all the work, again? He finished without turning to look at her. Sakura's eyes widened, hell everyone's did, even Kushina's. But not Kurama's. You know brat, if you're trying to get my approval, just say so. Naruto mentally rolled his eyes at his bijou. What? Said Sakura, shocked. Naruto sighed. I'll take that as a no. Kakashi, who was staring wide-eyed at what Naruto had said, wasn't prepared when Naruto appeared right behind him. If you get distracted, began Naruto, his eyes turning crimson, then you'll die. He grabbed Kakashi by the shoulder and threw him back. When he turned, his hands were already performing hand signs. That's, thought Kakashi alarmed. Wind style, Detapa. The attack hit Kakashi straight on. Kakashi-sensei, screamed Sakura, coming out of her shock. A log broken in half is what came out. No way Kakashi was gonna be taken out with that simple jutsu, but now he knows I'm serious, thought Naruto. Sakura sighed in relief, before turning her attention to Naruto. Why did you do that? It could have killed him. Naruto merely ignored her. So he wants us to chase him, he thought. Let's just find him to finish this, grumbled Kurama. Naruto jumped into the forest, Sakura following him, not pleased that he ignored her. Tsunade-sama, said Shizun looking at her mentor. The brat has certainly learned stuff, she said. Something tells me we haven't seen anything yet, muttered Jiraiya, the two women agreeing. So the little punk sent you? Mikoto nodded, taking in the shocked look that the rakeage was given to her for her own private amusement. A grumbled something under his breath before turning his attention to Yujito. And you're here, why? Yujito knew that he was referring to the fact as to why she wasn't with Naruto when he told her to. Well, you see, began Yujito, only to be interrupted by Mikoto. It was for the best, she said, smiling sweetly. Besides, aren't you happy that she's here in Kyumo where you know she's safe? Yujito glared at Mikoto for being interrupted, but didn't say anything. Leaned back in his chair. If she thinks I'm gonna fall for that, he thought. Yes, well, the brat and I had come to an agreement that Yujito would be there to assist him. Oh, but she is, said Mikoto. Raised an eyebrow in confusion. You see, both Naruto and I are working together, she continued, so the fact that she's here helping me means that she's also helping Naruto. Aside. So then, why exactly are you here then? Mikoto turned serious. This was the tricky part. I'm here because we need the Hachibi Jinchuriki. Narrowed his eyes at that. I already allowed Yujito to help you, and now you're telling me that you want me to give you my other Jinchuriki as well? That's insane. Mikoto smirked. Not if it helps you to get what you want. Oh? Just what is it that I want? He asked rhetorically. Why, the Byakugan, of course, she answered. Now tell me, just how giving you my other Jinchuriki is going to help me get the Byakugan? Of all the stupid questions, thought Mikoto. It's the whole reason you agreed to help Naruto in the first place. She smirked again, not letting any of her real thoughts come out. I know for a fact that you have never believed that he can achieve what he's after. But you figured since he has the Kyuubi that he would be able to cause a lot of commotion before he was brought down. And during that commotion you would be able to get the Byakugan. Nobody would know, and Konoha would believe that it was just Naruto acting on his own. And most of all, you get the Byakugan. Stared at her silently. Who is this woman? He asked himself. He glanced at Yujito, who had a frown on her face. She never mentioned anything about her. I'm going to have to ask her later. So what do you say? Asked Mikoto, bringing his attention back to her. If I do agree to this, Konoha will surely know that we helped Uzumaki, he said. Mikoto shrugged. You took that chance when you agreed for Yujito to accompany him. Besides, Mikoto smirked darkly, why would you care about what Konoha thinks if they're destroyed? A's eyes bugged out. What the hell are you talking about? He screamed, losing his composure. Again with the stupid questions, thought Mikoto, who was starting to get irritated. Would you mind? She said to Yujito. Yujito looked at her confused. Mikoto motioned her head towards the door, and understood. Yujito looked at the rakeage, who nodded. Once she was out the door, Mikoto turned towards the rakeage. No Umbu in here. Good. You already know that Naruto wants to destroy Konoha. A snort. Like the brat's going to succeed. Not if you truly help him. Konoha doesn't have their Jinchuriki, and you with the Nibi, Hachibi, and Kyuubi, well it's pretty obvious who would win. She's right, he thought reluctantly, but that didn't mean he was going to say yes. B was his little brother and there was no way he was going to risk sending him out, even if victory was almost absolute. Look, he began, with the Nibi and Kyuubi it should be enough. He didn't see how Mikoto's eyes narrowed. I'll even send some Umbu squads to help you. Of course they wouldn't. They, along with Yujito, would just sneak in and capture a Hyuga, preferably the heiress, and then sneak out back to Kumo. Then Mikoto did something unexpected, she laughed. Hard. Stared at the laughing woman, annoyed. Just what's so funny? Mikoto calmed herself. To think that you would actually believe that I'm an idiot, of course. She smirked darkly again. I am sorry to say though that I can't take no as an answer. Prepared to defend himself. Well, I'm sorry to say that this is my final decision. Mikoto chuckled as she closed her eyes. Yes, she opened them, Sharingan activated, it is your last. The rakeage's world went blank. Lighting style, Jibashi. Earth style, Doriyahiki. Kakashi jumped out of the way of the electric current as it destroyed his earth wall. He blocked a series of punches and kicks and jumped back, panting slightly. He knows lighting style as well, he thought. He didn't get to think about anything else as he was on the defense again, engaging Naruto in a taijutsu battle. He ducked from a high kick, and attempted to slide into Naruto's other foot, but Naruto jumped out of the way. A familiar sound reached Kakashi's ears. That's the Rasengan. Sakura arrived to see Naruto in the air coming down on Kakashi with a Rasengan on his right hand. She shielded herself from the blast before looking around. Another fucking clone, though Naruto as he stood up. That's the third one. This guy is starting to annoy me, stated Kurama, and Naruto agreed. That's Kakashi's objective, said Kushina, to see what you have learned. And what better way to do that than with clones? How about for him to stop being a coward and to face us directly? Kushina sighed. He can't regenerate lost body parts like you know. Kurama HMPH at that. Of course he can't. He's not cool enough for that. Kushina sweat dropped. Sakura stopped next to Naruto, looking around. While still annoyed at how he was treating her, she knew that she had to concentrate here. He's not above, behind, to the sides, or in front of us. That leaves. She brought her fist down and the end result caused Naruto to raise an eyebrow. The ground in front of them shattered like an earthquake had just hit. Well, she's not so useless. muttered Kurama. That's Tsunade's technique, thought Kushina. So she taught it to this girl, huh? It seems she did learn something these past years, thought Naruto. Kakashi jumped out of the crater. Damn, I almost forgot about Sakura here and her super strength. One hit and that's it. There you are, Kakashi-sensei, said Sakura with a smile. Yes, I'm. Kakashi didn't get to finish as he was once again kicked in the guts by Naruto. But unlike last time, Naruto held him there. Don't forget about me, Kakashi, said Naruto darkly. Kakashi, who was in pain, didn't detect the lack of sensei. Now to end this. Lighting style, Hiration. Note, it's not the flying thunder god technique. Kakashi screamed in pain as the bolt of current came into contact with him, and for good measure. Wind style, Rasengan. This time Kakashi did fly back, unconscious. No way. Muttered Jiraiya. Could he have actually perfected it, he thought to himself. Naruto calmly walked over to Kakashi's unconscious body, and picked up both bells. He threw one to a shocked Sakura, who barely caught it in time. Finally, said Kurama. I think you overdid it with that last one, said Kushina. Maybe. Jiraiya, Tsunade, and Shizun landed in front of them. Good job you two, congratulated Tsunade. Even though you did all the work, commented Kurama. Jiraiya was staring intently at Naruto, who was ignoring him. Now you three will join to form Team 7 again, said Tsunade. Sakura smiled at that. That just leaves Sasuke-kun. But then something came to her attention. Wait, what about Kakashi-sensei? Shizun, if you please, said Tsunade to her assistant, who nodded. She went over to Kakashi's body and, along with Taunton, disappeared. It seems your training trip proved to be fruitful after all, commented Tsunade to Naruto. Naruto merely nodded. Naruto, began Jiraiya, but he merely raised his hand. We have nothing to talk about. Jiraiya sighed at that. I shouldn't push him right now, he thought. You're mad at him? Asked Kushina. Of course. But not for what you're thinking, answered Naruto. Sakura looked back and forth between the two and Tsunade merely had her eyes closed. Now then, she began, opening them, you two are dismissed, and once Kakashi is cleared you three will be able to take missions. They both nodded. Tsunade and Jiraiya, the latter reluctantly, walked away. They had much to discuss after all. Once the two were out of sight, Sakura turned to look at Naruto, who was also walking away. Wait, Naruto, she said, running to catch up to him. Naruto stopped and turned to look at her. What? He said, as she stopped in front of him. Sakura frowned slightly at his tone, but then smiled. Well, we're a team again. And we haven't seen each other for 2 years now, so I was thinking if you wanted to hang out to catch up. Naruto raised an eyebrow at this. Well, this is unexpected. I was half expecting her to be screaming at you for your attitude, said Kurama. Kushina stayed quiet, waiting to see what her son would choose. Naruto sighed. 2 years ago, I would have been screaming around jumping in joy, but now. He looked at her straight in the eyes. No. He then turned and started to walk again. Sakura's eyes were wide now, all right. But WWI. Naruto stopped, turned a bit, and answered, because, I don't like you. He disappeared. Sakura felt tears starting to form. Is this information accurate? Yes. Toby smirked, not that either black or white Zetsu could see. Then he'll make a fine addition. You're going to recruit him? Toby nodded. Of course. Akatsuki is low on manpower, and there's still quite a few tailed beasts left. But this guy. He might be even worse than Orochimaru, finished White Zetsu. Toby shrugged. He's just a pawn. Just like Orochimaru was. And just like Orochimaru, he will die once his usefulness comes to an end. Alright then, said White Zetsu with a chuckle. His counterpart remained silent. Toby started to teleport away. Go to IWA and recruit Kabuto. The rest will seal the Sanbai. And I will not tolerate failure. With that, he disappeared completely. Pain turned towards the newly arrived Toby. Well, said Pain. Zetsu is on his way to recruit Kabuto in IWA, he answered. Are you sure about this? We don't need another incident like with Orochimaru, especially at this critical stage. Toby nodded. Of course. But you have nothing to worry about. I'm sure he'll do exactly what he needs him to do. And how do you know that? Toby chuckled. You don't have any faith in me, do you? Pain said nothing. Toby sighed at that. So much for trying to lighten the mood. Hell, he was the one who needed it. He will, because I know exactly what he wants, and working with Akatsuki is the best way to get that. Pain contemplated that for a few moments. It's nothing for you to worry about, said Toby, for now we need to seal the Sanbai. It will take longer without Kakuzu, Haiden, and now Zetsu. Toby's mood darkened at the reminder of the incident in Taki. Yes, it will, he admitted, but now we have no intruders, so we have plenty of time. Pain nodded and began to walk towards where the Sanbai was to be sealed, Toby right behind him. As long as I have the Rinnegan on my side, I can't lose. Although it would be better if it were under my possession, for now it's more convenient for him to have it. For now. He chuckled to himself. Once I have it, Obito, you will die. Are we ready? Both Suigetsu and Karen nodded. Sasuke smirked and the three began to walk out of the hideout. Alright, his Eternal activated, then let's go. Our destination is IWA. You should stop drinking, suggested Tsunade. Currently she and Jiraiya were in one of the many bars in Konoha. Jiraiya gulped another shot of sake down. And why should I, he said, as he filled another cup. The person who is my godson doesn't want anything to do with me and possibly hates me. Oh yeah, I should be celebrating, he finished sarcastically as he drank the refilled cup in one go. Tsunade sighed. Yes, but it is your fault. Jiraiya chuckled. Oh yeah, thanks for trying to cheer me up. I wasn't, admitted Tsunade. But drinking is not going to solve your problem. Jiraiya snorted. Never thought I would hear this from you. After all, weren't you the one that tried to solve your problems with drinking and gambling? Tsunade shrugged. Exactly, which is why I'm the perfect person to tell you that it is not the best course of action. Then what should I do? He asked, irritated. Tsunade sighed. Give him time. The brat ain't exactly one that holds grudges. That was in the past, Tsunade. Now. He looked down at his drink, now I don't know who he is anymore. I can barely even recognize him. That makes two of us, agreed Tsunade, but instead of moping we should try to figure out how to be close to him like we were. I don't think that's even possible anymore, muttered Jiraiya. Tsunade narrowed her eyes, stood up, reached over the table, and grabbed him by the collar, bringing him straight to her face. Look, I know you're depressed and frustrated, but I will not watch you go emo on me. You got that? Jiraiya looked at her shocked for a few seconds, before he smirked. You know what would help me, if you let me touch your breasts. Tsunade let go of him and sat back down. Yeah, you're feeling better all right. Jiraiya chuckled for a few more moments, before he turned serious. I'm going to fix this. Tsunade shook her head. No. We're going to fix this. All of us. Not just for Naruto, but for the Uzumaki clan as well. Jiraiya raised his glass along with Tsunade. Amen to that. I just hope we're not too late. He added mentally. Naruto was currently standing on top of the Shodai's face on the Hokage monument. Even I have to say that it was cold, said Kurama, referring to what his host had said to Sakura. Naruto shrugged. It's not important. There are more important things that need to be done. Well, what will our first move be? Asked Kushina. Naruto smirked as he gazed down at the village. Danzo, we're going to need to know what he's up to and where to find him. A spy, muttered Kushina. How are we going to do this? Asked Kurama, who for once was at a loss. Naruto's smirk remained. Don't worry. I'm known for having extremely good luck. I'm sure something will show up. That's it? Asked Kurama incredulously. We're leaving everything to luck. You should have gone with the girl then. Kushina narrowed her eyes at the fox within the seal, making the Bija shut up. Of course not, said Naruto. For now, it's time to gather allies within the village. Both Kurama and Kushina gained a look of understudying. How? Asked Kushina. Leave that to me, was the response she got. He focused his attention back at the village, his eyes becoming crimson. Yes, I already have a few people in mind.